Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All In channel going live. Just trying to wait for the guys to see if they're pop in. I sent the links out to everybody, um, so we're just gonna be standing by. But I want to at least get the show started. Sometimes people will see that it's on YouTube, realize that I have a show, and then they'll maybe see the bat signal and then jump in. But as you can see, it's a wrecking crew trying to bring it back, get the band back together. A lot of stuff going on with Xbox, and I did a video yesterday talking about it. I did it with Hebot, and as well as Unlimited was nice enough to jump in. Unlimited's got a lot of stuff going on right now. But it was cool that he stopped in, man. We did about half an hour. So this video I'm doing is actually for the crew. And there's some stuff I do want to say. But I want to kind of get their thoughts. Um, See where they stand on all of this. I'm pretty sure I can guess for the most part. But every once in a while, we do have different opinions, which is cool. So we'll see. Hey, what's up, Tool Man? What's up, brother? Thanks for being here, man. I'm just waiting for see if the guys pop in and give them some time. But thanks for being here, bro. And Daniel Berry, yeah, man, happy 4th of July, bro. It's funny, man, because it's raining where I am right now. And so I feel bad for some people trying to cook out. But it's not a nice day where I'm living, which is weird because normally it's sunny this time of year. But you know what? We need the rain too. I live on an island, so it's important that we get a lot of rain because we can't drink salt water. And for some reason, man, my state hasn't figured out how to do a desalination plant. You kind of absorb the water from the ocean. And I know other states have that, other countries. I think that's something we could bring here. Hopefully, and that would help with the water costs. I don't know. My state's got a lot of stuff going on right now. But with that being said, man, I mean, I was shocked because I didn't hear any flyovers this morning. Normally, or maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm thinking of a Veterans Day. That's the time that they do it. But not that. I thought they would do a flyover. Um, Dude, I live by a cemetery, a memorial for veterans. So yeah, so just bear with me, guys. Just give me some time, and about 10 minutes, and then we'll get the show fully rolling. Hopefully, these guys will drop in. I know they got a lot to say because there's just a lot of information being put out there, and it surprises me how bad that information is. Look, we talk about this on the channel. He kind of champions this in our group, where he talks about perception and he talks about perspective when it comes to Xbox. It's something that Microsoft definitely needs to work on. I understand that they're a big corporation. I understand that they have a lot of money. It's those two very things alone that tends to make me feel secure in the purchase that I have. Again, not agreeing with everything that they do, but for the most part, they've done a great job as far as I'm concerned as a fan, as a consumer. Just a couple things I'm not down with, but again, I say this all the time on my videos. The few things that I don't like pales in comparison to all the stuff that I get from my Xbox right now and the ecosystem. It's untouchable, man. I got it this morning and I threw on Towerborn. Got my 15. Got to play my 15 minutes to get my points, and I love the game, dude. It's not hard for me to get involved um, in a game like Towerborn since I like it so much. And it's interesting because I found myself looking at my time and wanting to play more games. So in order for me to play more games and get through my library of games, I've actually had to discipline my gameplay, not to the point where it becomes like a job. I never want to do that, and I never will do that. We play games as recreation. We play games to have fun, as a distraction, to enjoy. If it ever comes to the point where I feel like I'm doing gaming as a profession or as a job, where I'm overly critical, yeah, I'm not critical, but I'm finding myself just too focused on the scheduling of my gaming. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I have a huge library of games. We have access to a lot of games on Game Pass. Microsoft constantly and Xbox constantly have sales on their games. This is why I don't, cry when. And I look, $80 games. $80 is a lot for games. But like I said the other day on my video, a lot of people don't buy games at full price anyway. They weren't doing it when it was $49.99. They weren't doing it when it was $59.99. People that really want a game, really want the game, will go out and buy it. But it's very rare that people are constantly buying brand new games at launch, right? What you do is you have the people. For example, you guys know that I'm not a Souls like player, right? So if something uh, like Wukong is going to come out, or I forget that other game that's really popular that everybody went out and bought, right? Since everybody bought that game, then it's going to get a lot of support. So that's not my kind of game, so I'm not going to go buy it. Probably won't even buy it if even if it's on sale because I just don't play those type of games, right? But that's how it normally works. So these guys who make these games, they understand that about the market, or they should. If they don't, then I feel bad for them, right? And that's why you see a lot of these guys, at least for me, that I see, because like I said, this is just not about. It's just not about gaming as a hobby. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. So what I see, because I follow a lot of people, I follow a lot of people on social media whose games I like, right? And so they'll be out there promoting their stuff, using social media to promote their stuff, and it's good to see that, right? You know, they're out there doing the heavy lifting, the hard work. They did a lot of work to make the game, and now they're trying to promote it, hopefully getting people to come in and buy the game. And now, in fairness, to it, it's more on the single A to indie scene, but still, it's nice to see, right? And that's the people that are trying to support the most, right? So if there's a big budget game that comes out, I know a lot of people are going to buy it. I might pass on it unless it's a game I really, really want. I might pass on it and throw my support behind other games. Now, this brings up another point that I think the guys, hopefully well, if we have time to talk about it, get their opinion on it. Since it's just me, I'll talk about this. Um, there's a channel that I follow, really great channel called Clownfish TV. They cover a lot of pop culture stuff, and one of the things they talk about. Hey, what's up, Vontae? They talk about comic book stuff. They talk about anime. They've been doing a little bit of stuff on K drama. Um, Collectibles. They do events. I mean, events. They go to cons and stuff like that. They're actually artists themselves, so you know they got skin in the game, and they do talk about gaming. Now, for me, so they brought up a point about the state of gaming and stuff like that, right? And the interesting thing I find out about it is that a lot of people have a lot of opinions, especially when it comes to Microsoft. Right? As you guys know, Microsoft right now is the soup du jour, right? It's the special on the menu, so everybody's ultra focused on it. A lot of these people, I'm just going to be honest with you, um, don't know what they're talking about because they're just getting their news from the gaming media or the mainstream media, right? So they did a video discussing video gaming, and there's a lot of comments in the section, a lot of people commenting on it because they have a big following. And I just went into the comment section because I see a lot of these people talking about it. And one of the aggravating things for me is that I know a lot of these people probably don't play games. I can tell by the comments. Same way that he bought when he did a video on his channel on Laura Fryer, who's a former employee of Microsoft who worked on the original Xbox, right? Always give much respect to the OG crew, right? Even if I agree with them or disagree. And he did a great breakdown of it. And one of the critiques of Laura Fryer is that she was talking about things, but you can tell that she's not been in, the mix for a while, especially when it comes to the hardware. She definitely has a more old school mentality. That's something I try and be wary of when I talk about the topics, right? Because I'm older than most when it comes to gaming. So I try and keep myself in check. I'm not saying that I can't have opinions or talk about certain things. But what I mean by that is this: I'm looking at certain perspectives, and I'm like, okay, look, let me check myself first before I give my opinion, right? And so you could just tell. I mean, she's been out of the game for a while, and things have progressed. Things have moved on. But, oh, hold on, please. Let me check this room. Oh, did I send it? Okay, I got it. So my point with Laura Fryer is I'm watching this dude's video. I'm in the comment section, and I'm just realizing that again, one of the things about the economy right now, one of the things about gaming in general, and the cost of everything going up, is that people are being shown not to be gamers. Right? It's easy to talk about stuff, and that's with anything, with any genre. I talked to you guys about latest animated movie I've been watching on Netflix called K-pop Demon Hunters, right? So I knew about that stuff from the jump. That's kind of in my wheelhouse, guys. I talk about this stuff on my channel all the time. I actually did a video talking about it. And that was when it first came. First, this was like I think when it first came out. But I was talking about it even before because I saw the trailers. I was kind of in tune to what was coming. And then it hits, right? It releases on Netflix. Awesome movie. Highly recommend if you want to watch a good animated film. You don't have to be a K-pop fan. That it helps, but it's just a really well done. One of the best animated movies I've seen in a while, right? And so, if you like anime or animation, right, then I think you would enjoy this movie. It's worth checking out. But with that being said, right, so it releases, right, and what ends up happening is a lot of general audience people see it, and when they see it and they start to like it, that stuff kind of goes. That's when it starts going viral. And I could tell that it was gaining popularity because what Netflix was doing, or the studios like Sony Animation, a lot of these people that worked on the show, they were actually releasing videos, the behind the scenes stuff. And then came the entertainment channels, and they started releasing interviews and stuff like that. It started to pick up steam. Algorithm picks up on it, and then it's putting it all out there. So when I go on my feed, I see it all, right? And that's what I've been actually consuming. Again, this is why I don't lose my mind with what's going on with Microsoft because a lot of these people, they it's all for clicks, it's all for views. And most of them hate Microsoft and Xbox anyway. So why give them any? There's no really reason to pay attention to these guys. On top of the fact that all these dudes don't own Xboxes or play Xbox games. Right? That's the thing that irritates me the most because you can have an opinion if you put in on it, but a lot of these guys don't. They see the headline, they want to get clicks, they want to get views, and it's everybody's doing it. Right? At least I can say honestly that I actually play my games. I actually own an Xbox. I actually like my Xbox Game Pass, so I can critique Microsoft, I can critique Xbox, but for me, my critique's coming from a place of either being a consumer or a fan, right? So that gives me a little bit more credibility. It doesn't do me any good if Avowed sucks. It doesn't do me any good if South of Midnight was a complete DEI mess, which it wasn't, right? It doesn't do me any good if Towerborn releases it has a bunch of glitches and they can't get the game off the get the game online, get the online component of the game working well, right? None of that stuff, that's not the point of critiquing something that I enjoy, right? The part of critiquing something that I enjoy is to make sure that, or hopefully that whatever I enjoy, whatever I'm playing will be good and then can get better. Right? And that's what the bottom line, that's what it boils down to. And a lot of these guys out here don't care anything about video. They don't care about Xbox. They don't care about Microsoft. A lot of them hate them. And none of them care about gaming. That's what's being shown right now, if I'm being honest. Can you guys see this? Hold on. One second, guys. Dude, you guys can see the feed, right? I can't see it. Hold on, guys. This stuff is totally. Let me try and fix this real quick. All right, I got it. I got it. Hold on. Yeah, I got it. Sorry about that. All right, but yeah, so I put my commentary down there because I think that's the major problem with gaming right now. Unlimited talked about it yesterday as well, right? And that's a big problem, right? You have a generational skip, possibly. I can't speak to that personally because my kids both play games. My son doesn't play as much as he used to. My daughter definitely does, but in fairness, she's probably going to go into the industry herself. Um, she's a bit of a creative, so I can't speak to that personally. Um, but it could be right because it's something of a older generation. It's something that I grew up with, and I don't. There's so much stuff that kids can get into. Um, One thing I noticed about my daughter, what she likes to play, there's a lot of specific type of games. For somebody like me, a lot of the guys in the group, we play a lot of variety of games. Some for some genres we like definitely like better than others. But as gamers, we kind of grew up in it, and we're from that generation of gamers that, number one, we're willing to try a lot of different games, right? Even if it's games that doesn't seem interesting to us, you throw a game in front of us, most of us will be like, yeah, fine. We're kind of like if we're at the dinner table. Maybe we like steak and eggs for breakfast, but if you put a waffle in front of us, one of us or most of us will be like, oh yeah, I'll eat that anyway, right? That generation of gamer seems to be disappearing, and I think that's one of the major problems. Um, that's why I don't look at what Microsoft, what they're doing, as being erratic, like some people are accusing them of being. I know there's definitely changes going on. Hopefully, these guys will come in here and we can talk about it and break it down. Because I think one of the things that nobody's talking about, that's influencing on a lot of these decisions, it's not just money. I think it actually has to do with a lot of the interfacing that Microsoft wants to do with Xbox, with AI. If I'm being honest, now on the positive side of that, what I can look at that is being that's money invested. Because guys, man, Microsoft is going hard on AI. Right? I mean, it probably had somewhat to do with all the layoffs going on with some of those positions. Now, Microsoft doesn't release. There's hearsay. A lot of people talk about stuff out there. Some of it is some of it. I mean, some of it. I mean, very little of it is you can kind of see it, but most of it we don't know. It's pure speculation, right? And again, like I said yesterday, Microsoft does not expound on this stuff. Right? Hold on, guys. Somebody would allow. And Microsoft just doesn't give the details on these kind of things. And I think at some point they could, and they should do it, because there's people with a lot of questions with what they're doing. Um, at least for the general population as their consumers. The hardcore guys like us, they got us. Though it would be good, give us definitely something to talk about, make the picture a little bit clearer. I think they need to get better with that side of the communication. Because at the end of the day, again, the perception out there of Microsoft, is really negative right now, right? Not that it bothers me, but again, if you're trying to reach and grow the brand, and maybe they are, we don't know. There's just a lot of unknowns right now when it comes to what they're doing, right? So a little bit of clarity would be good. I don't believe in all the drama out there that Microsoft is dying, Xbox is dying. I will say, like I said yesterday, there's probably some milestones that they wanted to hit, and I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if they've done that completely. But then again, dude, you had a pandemic, and we could, if you guys wanted to talk the extent of how bad that pandemic was, that's fine. But you had a lot of things that was going on in the world that did not do Microsoft and Xbox any favors. Right? You're living in an environment right now where a lot of people don't have money. A lot of people don't have disposable income, and to me, that's the number one and the number two thing. This all of this stuff about how good games are, all this kind of stuff. Like I said in my other videos, when people start hurting for money, dude, you get ultra focused on things, right? When you used to just go to McDonald's and buy something because it was cheap and affordable, well, McDonald's is not cheap anymore. It sure is not affordable, and on top of that, dude, a lot of the times the service is bad, right? So perfect storm, right? So if you go out and that's not just McDonald's, anywhere you go, then when you're spending your money and you're counting pennies, dude, every little thing matters, and that's what's going on with gaming. To me, that's the main thing that's going on with gaming. It's a luxury item, dude. It's a hobby for most people. This is not something that you won't die. Like I say all the time, you won't die without playing games. Though a lot of us like to do it. A lot of us will sacrifice certain things, like we'll cut to other streaming services. We'll maybe cut down on going out to eat. We'd rather stay home and play games. That's not what the hardcore gamer would do. The actual gamer and the hardcore gamer would do. We would do things to ensure that our gaming fix. We could get our gaming fix, right? And even in that, you might have to, hey man, maybe I'll just go down to one console, or maybe I can't buy every single game when it releases. Maybe I will come on Game Pass because it's a monthly service, and I'll just get rid of Disney Plus or Apple Plus, right? But when you do it a casual audience, dude, the gaming is usually going to be the one that's cut. I'm just being honest with you. That's why a lot of this stuff, in a way, is kind of good that it's happening, so people can kind of see. Because a lot of people say all kind of stuff on the internet, and it's just not true, right? Just people talking just to talk, and people, using um, the news of what Microsoft is going to do to get clicks and views. Right? Doesn't necessarily mean that they're fans, man, or that they're even gamers. That's my point, right? And I think that's something that Microsoft realizes, though I think they should be a little bit more aggressive. That's my only complaint with them. I think they need to be more aggressive, especially if they're going to invest this much money into it. And then people think that they're like that anyway. The amount of people I see online saying that they're a greedy corporation, that Xbox just wants to get your money, Xbox doesn't care about gaming, Xbox just wants to shut down studios and just shut down games, which makes no sense. Why would you invest all this money in something that's just shut it down, right? Of all the companies, only Microsoft is employing people right now. A lot of other companies have shut down whole studios and are not coming back, right? Microsoft tries to be nice about it. Microsoft really does. Look, I can tell, I can say this with absolute authority, man, because it's something that I don't like that they do, right? And we know this, man. If you guys see Phil and you guys know Phil now, he might be getting orders from above him, and I think the economy and the situation that we're in fiscally is dictating a lot of this as well. It's just not them sitting around at a table just trying to find ways to screw people. That's so anti Phil. If Phil was like that, dude, PlayStation wouldn't be around. If Phil actually felt that it was that nasty villain guy, PlayStation would be gone and Nintendo would have been bought already. Hey, what's up, T? T says, "What's up, Sega? The industry is moving for new blood, young blood to the next gen state of the industry is going to be special worldwide." I mean, I think that's what they want to but how much of the new blood is actually participating, bro? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's probably why they're gonna have to change their business dynamics, right? The old guard, the old way of doing things, right? And in that flux, man, that's where I'm kind of worried about it, you know, because you can tell, dude. Just go online and see what people are playing or what moves the needle. You know, and that's just not gaming; it's a lot of stuff. Movies, all across the board. The stuff we talk about on this channel, it's all in flux right now because they are looking at that market. The sad thing about it, T, is that that younger market also is not. They don't also have the most disposable income right now, right? Because they got a lot of other stuff that they got to worry about. Like where they're gonna live, moving back home with their parents, paying off their loans if they have any, trying to afford food, right? If you're a person that's a little older, you got a house, maybe you paid off your house, you don't have a car payment, stuff like that. These guys have a lot of different things going on, and they got a lot of different things vying for their attention as well. So for me, when I look at that, bro, I'm like, well, you know, again, this is why I wrote what I did in the comment section of the guy's video because I was like, look, dude, at the end of the day, man, it's just to me, it's just like gaming is just not their number one anymore. You know, T Reaper says bills, rent, food, the needs for life. Cycle. Yeah, 100%, T, 100%, dude. You just can't get around that. Dude, I see so many videos of people posting online, and then people are taking all these posts and actually uh, making videos about all the posts. Compiling it and just talking about it, giving their thoughts on what everybody's talking about. And it's bad out there, dude. And it's been bad. It's just that now people are starting to focus on it because of the current news cycle that we're in. A certain person in the White House, right? But like for me, like I've been correcting for years now because I have to, man. I live in probably one of the most, if not the most, expensive state in the U.S. For as far as cost of living. I think maybe New Hampshire might have surpassed us, right? And I think California, we are behind California, but I remember a couple months last year we were number one. I think New Hampshire, one of the Northeast states, took over that spot, but it's still. I mean, it doesn't matter who's number one; it still sucks. I feel it every time I go to the store. You know, the guys that are running the state here, they're always on. They're on the news, always talking about going green, and I'm like, dude, you can't afford to go green. I live in a pretty tropical climate, so certain parts of the year, dude, the humidity is unbearable. If there's no wind, right? I mean, it just sits, dude, and it's basically like you're living in a sauna. And sometimes it's so bad, it's even nighttime, dude. 2 in the morning, and it feels like that, right? So a lot of people get air conditioning, but the problem with the AC, right, is the electricity is so high, right? That the AC bill is like, man, I know people that are paying like $1,000 a month for the AC, which I think is ridiculous. Sorry about that noise, guys. I don't know what these people are doing. Fonte says a lot. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. My bills have gone up. phone bill went up, insurance went up. I don't have a car payment. I paid that off a couple years ago. Paid off my house, so that helps, right? But just food and bills alone, dude. You know, something pops up for medical. One of the things I have is I have VA care, but that has to be specific to my disability. Right? But if it's anything else, dude, I gotta go to a doctor just like everybody else. Right? And then a lot of times I end up going to the doctor anyway because they're faster. But that's what people are dealing with. So at the end of the day, man, I mean, you deal with that. I mean, all the stuff that's going on overseas, right? The things that's going on in the world in general. You know, a lot of people ain't thinking about this stuff, and it's unfortunate, man, because with Microsoft, I think they had a good feeling about all of this when they started off, and as rightfully so, right? And unfortunately, a lot of these outside forces, man, have just kind of kept them from. In my opinion, you guys can disagree. But all these outside forces, all these events, things that happen that you can't predict, has really kind of hindered them from going to that next level like they wanted to. It's similar to what happened with Xbox Live. When Xbox Live first launched, they had they didn't have super high hopes for it. In fact, if you watch the documentary Power On, they actually had people that were totally against it, thought it was stupid within the company. Kind of what you're hearing now with a lot of people. This is why I don't lose my mind, dude. People are going to have opinions. It's a big company, right? Especially people are affected by decisions that Microsoft makes. So to have somebody come up and talk about, what happened to them and stuff like that, especially if it did, you know, what are you going to do, man? It is what it is, dude. It's we live in those kind of times though. I work where I work, man. There's people that have just decided to retire. There's people that move to other places, man, because they can't afford to live here. They don't think it's worth living here when they can go live in another state and have a more affordable cost of living and make, and in some instances make more money, right? So all of that stuff you gotta take into consideration. So, and none of these people do. That's what drives me nuts the most about it, right? Is none of these people do, and it's irritating. I want to say it's irritating because I can't stand it at all. It's something that I'm like, yeah. Because at the end of the day, dude, and I understand I put some of that onus again on Microsoft and Xbox, but mostly Microsoft. I'm like, look, guys, I understand you guys are big. I understand you guys have a lot of stuff going on. You're trying to uh, build an AI chip that taps into some kind of alternate reality. Hopefully, it don't kill us all. But that is their focus. And again, I think that has a lot to do with why they're course correcting and why Xbox has slated their releases differently now. And if it works out, which I'm pretty confident that it will, um, it should benefit the company and the games division and us as consumers. Now, what they decide to do with all this information that they're getting, all this technology that they're trying to create and implement, that's the main thing. Dude, the AI thing is real for them, man. If you haven't noticed their stock price right now, and it's because of the announcement that they made. This is why I tell you guys don't listen to these people, right? Their stock price has gone up. They're killing it because of all these partnerships that they're making. They're making in AI. It's crazy, right? So that's why I don't. People can say whatever they want to, but then when you look at what's actually on paper, you can kind of tell. Well, these guys don't know. Fonte, like I said 2 days ago, a lot of fake concern for stuff they could care less about. The world is moving a certain way, and I don't want to say we have to get over it and get with the times, but we do. Yeah, about the date though. You're not going to stop them. Not you, but people. You won't be able to stop what they want to do. They're going to do what they want to do, right? What the best we can hope for is that, hey, you know what, we can benefit from it. It'll make Xbox division bigger, better. It'll make them more money so that they can be more solvent. I don't. I know they got aspirations of changing the world. That's fine, as long as I get to play my games, right? And again, I'm not losing my mind over the games that have been canceled, um, because I've been gaming forever, dude. I've seen games come and go. I've been anticipating games that never got completed, and it's not just in the gaming industry. This happens in every industry, right? I mean, I go back looking as far as when I used to watch sci-fi religiously, right? And then I kind of stopped watching them because they'd have a show that I love. They do one season, and then that would be it, right? They want to do a second season, even though the show is popular. Stuff like that. That's just the way it is, especially in pop culture. So that's why, again, a lot of these people that are sharing their of us, right? And I mean, they're not geeks or nerds. It's a fad to be that way. It's popular. It's a business now, right? That's a big thing. Um, but I mean, at least that for me, Vontae, that outlook is positive. What they're trying to do, if they can take AI, um, they're going to definitely use it in gaming, and we got to see how that turns out. But I mean, you could be on the precipice of something really huge, right? To the point that you can look back and say, "Hey, I was there when it happened." That's what I find myself doing a lot of times with a lot of people commenting on things that go on in the gaming industry and why things are the way they are and why certain things work out and other things don't. And I'll just be honest with you, man. I mean, for me, I'm like, yeah, I know why because I was ground floor when all of this stuff took off. I was there when Microsoft launched, right? I remember vividly all the stuff that was being said, and it wasn't all positive. Very rarely was it positive. The only thing I remember the most was that after they showed off the specs, the game developers conference, I think it was, and I remember a lot of the developers being excited about it. That's what the reporting was, um, and that they couldn't wait to get their hands on it, right? And that kind of stuff. I mean, it's in the documentary. People talk about it, but it's not something that I don't. I know just because I was already keeping up with that stuff, dude. I was hardcore, man. When I was as a gamer, I was hardcore, dude. Outside of the game systems, like of all the major game systems, I've owned all of them. Right, the only ones I did not own was like a 3DO or something else outside of the be honest, outside of that spectrum, right? And then of course like something like the Neo Geo, which I wish I would have saved money to buy that, but it was hard, man. This stuff was expensive and the games were expensive. It's amazing to see like I saw something where they were doing a relaunch, and it's just basically like because time has moved on, technology's gotten better, but the amount of money I had to pay for that and the cartridges is crazy at the time. But yeah, I mean, for me, just talk about this a little bit, and then I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Look, for me, when I look at it, Microsoft, dude, they have to do something, right? They have to, and not do something, and like they do, with Xbox, they do a lot of stuff, a lot of positive stuff, put a lot of positive information and stuff like that. But at some point in time, they need to start addressing some of these things, and they need to start calling some people out. I personally, again, you guys know me, man. I would prefer to go to the nuclear option and just start taking people out. I think it would be better for gaming as a whole, dude. I think PlayStation still being around, dude, is just they should have disappeared a long time ago. And that's not just me hating on them, dude. I'm just being honest. It's amazing to me. Like again, I watch K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix. That's a Sony Animated Studios movie. They're the ones that did the animation for that movie, right? If you watch the Web of Spider or the Spider-Man Miles Morales Spider-Man, those movies are really well done, really great. And it took me back to a time when Sony was actually good. It reminded me of how Sony was back in the '90s, dude. They were doing a lot of different things, and they were doing it well, or extraordinary, either or, right? But they knew what they wanted to do. They were in their wheelhouse. They were in their groove, and they would just produce a lot of cool, great quality. A lot of artists came out of the music system. A lot of entertainment stuff that they did, electronics, they were killing it. And they didn't have to be the top. Like, not everything has to be a Grammy award winning thing. Dude, they were just always producing content that would push the boundaries somewhat, and then that would be very creative and enjoyable and entertaining. And that's watching the because I watched that show like a couple times, and I've been keeping up with all the news. And it reminded me of how good Sony animation was back in the day. They never reached the level of a Disney or Pixar, right? But you don't have to, right? You just gotta love what you do, know what you're doing, work on your craft, and then you'll get there eventually. And that's obvious now, man. Pixar released a show, a movie, Elio or something like that, that bombed, right? And it's just because they're just doing either ideological stuff or they just don't got their heart in it, right? And then you watch K-pop Demon Hunters, dude. I saw the interview with both the, I think they're the directors. It's co-directed project. I don't know who the producer is. Probably somebody at Sony. But you can tell, man, it was a labor of love for them. And because they wanted to tell us a particular story, they teamed up with Sony Animation, and it was a good fit, right? And because it was a good fit, they produced an awesome. They did a collaboration to produce an awesome product, right? And at some point in time, dude, that's what Sony used to be like before, back in the day, right? But Sony is no longer. Hey, what's up, brother?
Sega forever. What's up, man?
Hey, brother, what's up, man? Yeah, I sent the bat signal out, dude. I wasn't sure if you guys was busy. It's 4th of July. I
Hey,
figured,
man.
you know,
I figure it's been a while. I will probably be dipping in and out because I got a lot of stuff going on over here. But
no,
I
no,
mean, you don't do too many podcasts anymore. So I figured, man, it's the 4th of July. I had my festivities like earlier today. Like I do my shit early in the morning, man. So I can be in bed and get my rest. But yeah, man, I already me and my family already ate, man. The kitchen is cleaned up. So I figure I'll come and check out my boy, man, and see what's going on.
yeah, thanks, brother. Yeah, it's good to hear from you, man. I'm glad you and Sega Man are doing the podcast. But I was telling Hebot, man, I can't listen to any of these dudes anymore. None of these guys, man. If you guys don't do podcasts, I can't listen to anybody.
Yeah, the gaming community right now to me is a situation where everybody to me and none of their complaints make any sense, right?
Yeah,
None of their complaints make any sense. You got half the gamers want gaming to go backwards like it was back in the Xbox 360 era. You got another group that are still stuck in the Genesis does what Nintendo era and
yeah,
still believe the exclusive sell consoles, which they don't. You got another group of people that don't understand what Xbox is doing. You got another group of people that want to ignore the obvious. The most problematic company right now, fiscally, financially, software wise, management wise, is actually PlayStation. But they don't
yeah,
ever talk about that. It's not Xbox that lost 400 million on Concord. It's not Xbox that canceled 13 games. It's not Xbox that closed down 5 and 6 studios over the past 6 years. I mean, these little moves that Xbox has been making and Microsoft has been making have been minuscule. They've been infinitesimal. So, I follow the news, man. I pretty much know what this is about. This is about the fact that let me see if I can get this right in succession. Layoffs, right? That happen at any job. Let me see
yeah.
if I get this right in succession. Um, Everwild got canceled. Not only Everwild, but Perfect Dark, right?
Mhm.
Games get canceled all the time. Um, Sometimes games get canceled that were already in beta that we already played, like in 2017, when I waited a year to get the Fable Legends beta, right? Because
Yeah,
you had to, they just didn't send you out the Fable Legends beta. You had to wait for that thing, right? So I get it, play it, and Fable Legends was in a finished state. It was finished, and Phil Spencer still canceled it. Sometimes, man, when you got to restructure, we didn't know what he was doing at the time. He was restructuring Xbox for this
mhm.
next generation. He was making moves to do what was necessary. So you got a lot of folks, I guess, right now. I mean, the Xbox is dying. The Xbox dead articles and videos from Dreamcast guy ain't never going to stop, right? Because that's what those guys do. Um,
Yeah,
when you are making moves like Xbox is making, sometimes, man, you got to trim the fat, right? And this shit would have bothered me like maybe a couple of years ago. Oh man, I can't believe Phil canceled Perfect Dark. I can't believe Phil canceled Everwild. The truth of the matter is, we I have got so many games right now that I'm
uh,
trying to finish.
yep,
We've
true.
got so many games coming in Game Pass every month, and I shit you not, Sega Forever. And anybody doubt me, I could show you my motherfucking list of active games I got right now that I'm playing. I had to delete some shit. I had to delete Assassin's Creed Shadows to come back to it. I don't know when I'm gonna ever start. I don't know when I'm gonna ever start Adamfall. I don't know when I'm gonna ever start that shit. Like
Yep,
we got
animated
so
shit.
many. And I think this week or probably the day or tomorrow, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is coming. Like
Yeah.
every week is 2 or 3 games or 4 games coming in the Game Pass, and all I hear is Xbox dudes crying and complaining. I see the IGN articles. I don't even look at the videos. I try to keep positive shit in my YouTube feed, man, because
It's
I
hard.
got as you get older, you get wiser. I'm
Yeah.
not the E-Rock X who maybe a year and a half ago bitched and moaned that Phil was bringing Sea of Thieves to PlayStation. I'm not I'm not the guy who would have had a fit that Phil Spencer brought Senua Saga Hellblade 2 to PlayStation. Like first of all, Sea of Thieves is making the money, is printing the money. And as far as what's up, T Reaper? As far as Hellblade 2, the truth of the matter was everybody had played it and it was just sitting there. It was sitting there doing nobody no good. So they decided to put it on another console and make money. So somebody would say, well, E-Rock, what does all this Xbox making money mean to you? What does it mean? Are you the fuck blind? It means we're going to keep getting stuff every week, every month in Game Pass. It means we're going to get hit with surprises out of nowhere, like the Space Marines remaster. Like
Yeah.
all of this cool stuff is coming to Game Pass at a clip faster than I've ever seen it. I used to tell everybody that the most busy year in gaming I ever saw was 2007. Some of y'all might be a little bit young, but in 2007, that might be the peak of what Xbox was, Xbox 360. Like it was just boom. You had Halo 3, you had BioShock, you had all these games, just boom, 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 Mass Effect. It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
But like 2025 has been crazier. 2025 has been like every month has been something, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 games dropping in Game Pass. And it's like, how can anybody be unhappy with Phil Spencer's performance? So
You're
what
right.
happens? Yo, go ahead.
I've never, and like you, man, we've been doing this like our whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back in the history of gaming, even when gaming had 4 or 5 people making consoles, dude, I've never seen anybody put out games like Xbox has ever.
Dude, this is crazy. We were just talking about this on the Unlimited Truth
Mhm.
podcast 2 weeks
Yep.
ago. I was telling Dia and Sega Man and Unlimited. I said, "Oh, this shit is crazy." So like I'm not working right now. I'm going to say semi-retired because I take care of a senior citizen. So I can't go out here no more. I can't. But like even if I could, you would have to have like 2 jobs in order to keep up with all of these games. It's impossible. It's impossible. Financially, it will break you. So
Yeah.
now this year we finally see what Game Pass means to consumers. That you pay $21 a month or whatever it is, you pay 200 and something dollars a year, and get in exchange you get like damn near 7 grand worth of games. Like, yo, that's crazy. That's crazy to me, man. Xbox right now is a better value proposition than anything out there. PC, PlayStation, Nintendo. You can tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself. You can sit here and tell yourself, well, whatever dumb shit. Well, y'all renting games, man. Like, whatever, dude. You do know that we have the choice to buy shit if we want, right? Yeah, I fed some money to Black Myth Wukong. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see what that's about. And I'm gonna feed some money to Space Marines reboot. And I want to feed some money to a couple of other games. But that's the beauty of Game Pass is that you can try shit before you buy it unless it's something you really want. But anyway, man,
Yeah, and that's not that you're not the only one doing that. You know,
yeah,
there's a bunch of us doing it. Like I dropped $50 on Towerborn.
yeah,
Uh,
man.
yeah,
Yeah, I forgot Towerborn had Game Pass a couple. Yo, man, a Game Pass is crazy, dude.
yeah.
So like I guess there's some people out there that probably be upset because Everwild and Perfect Dark got canceled. Let me ask you something, right? It's because I've been watching gaming for a long time. Like,
Mhm.
it's never a good sign when they show a game 5 years ago. They showed Everwild 5 years ago, right? They showed a clip for Everwild. We don't know if that was actually an actual game.
Yeah, good point.
That might have been what they call in movies and games proof of concept. We don't
Yeah,
know that was an actual game. That might have just been them doing a few renders to show what they wanted to do. Then they said that the game was supposed to get redone. They didn't like they didn't like where they were at halfway through, so they wanted to redo it. And so, Phil has people he got to answer to. Phil has people he got to answer to. Perfect Dark. We haven't heard nothing in Perfect Dark in 5 years. So they finally showed some gameplay last year, right?
Yeah, it
We
looked
don't
good.
know.
It looked good, though.
It looked good,
Yeah,
but that too might have been proof of concept.
true.
That might have been. You know what proof of concept was a couple of years back in 2016? There was this game that got canceled for Xbox One that had like this dragon in it. And everybody claimed they wanted to play it.
Yeah,
I
skill.
forget the Scalebound.
They were bringing
Scalebound.
it up, bro. They were bringing it up again. All these people.
I know, but here's the thing: Scalebound wasn't a game. Scalebound was proof of concept.
Yeah.
All you ever saw was that one clip, and everybody lost their mind. You know how you know Grand Theft Auto 6 is real? They showed you an entire 2 different videos. They leaked the gameplay like 3 years ago. They showed you 2 different videos. That's how you know this bitch is real. And plus, it's Rockstar, right? And then you got some games that you see plenty of gameplay of, like Mind's Eye, that maybe shouldn't have came out at all. so it's like, maybe they should have canceled that shit and left that shit in the cooker. But like, Phil and them been doing this shit for a long time, man. And somebody in the comment section or anybody hears this podcast will be like, "Oh, you coping?" And I say it again, like, man, I don't have any stock in Microsoft.
Yeah,
I don't have any stock in Xbox. It's just that I'm calm now because I've got so many games I can't finish them all. And then here's the thing: Xbox has done their other shows. We don't even know what's coming out this fall, right? So, like, I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't even think I'll miss Perfect Dark ever while. That's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, tell the truth, Sega Forever. Was you? I mean, I'm no judgment, man. Was you looking forward to those games?
Okay, we talked about this at Unlimited yesterday. Unlimited was nice enough to pop in because he got a lot of stuff going on too, right? But he popped in and we both agreed. I was like, look, we'll be honest, right? Not really, but if it was Fable, like we both agree. Like if it was Fable, I probably wouldn't be happy right now.
Yeah, that's different. That's different because Fable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, dude. Because because the way I feel about it, dude. A lot of these dudes that are talking about it, they just weaponize it. You know what I'm saying?
That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all. These are the same dudes that have been wanting to see Xbox die for years, right? And it hasn't been dying. It's been thriving. It's been doing better than PlayStation. I don't care how many shipped to retailer numbers, not sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Shipped to retailer numbers that they send out. I don't care how many shipped to retailer numbers they send out. It don't mean anything. Xbox has been killing it. They've been making money hand over fist. So like they just needed something to talk about. And Phil gave him something. Hey, listen, it's a second forever. Can you give me a minute, man? I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry about this, man. I'll be right back, all right?
No, I'll be here.
Hold it down. All right.
All right, bro. Vontae says, I didn't even care about Perfect Dark back in the day, and it's been on development hell forever anyway. The fact we even saw a trailer for it was a miracle. Yeah, 100% Vontae. You know what I noticed, dude? A lot of it's from the Rare fan base as well, and I give them props, dude. Rare fan base is pretty rabid, right? They have Sea of Thieves, right? How many people would have participated on that level with Perfect Dark? I don't know. Microsoft gets a lot of blame because they actually bought Rare Studios. But at the end of the day, dude, it's at the end of the day, this is what I was telling people online, dude, like just to kind of shut them up, because you go back and forth with these dudes, man, and because they're coming, they don't care about, just like E-Rock said, they don't care about none of this stuff. Most of them don't even know about the games. It's just what they're reading in the news. But for me, it's like it should scare you guys that Microsoft can't do this. That's the reality of it. That Microsoft can develop, spend money, spend time, proof of concept like E-Rock, all of that stuff costs money. Right, and then Microsoft at the end of the day said, "Oh, it's not worth it," and they pull the plug. And that's the thing. Microsoft does that all the time, and like most businesses can't do that. Most companies cannot do that, right? Most companies, and when they face something like you've seen it in the industry this year, man, it just takes one bad game, right, and then a company shuts down. Sometimes they release a game, it's received positively, good reviews, actually does some sales, and it still gets shut down. That's the economy we're living in. That's the world we're living in. And for me, dude, it's just like there's not a lot of companies that can do that. Again, I told you guys one of the big reasons I went with, I had a myriad of reasons to go with the Xbox. But one of the things that impressed me the most was the red ring of death. A lot of people like look back at that. Yeah, if it happened to me too. right? But I mean, it's nothing that you want to experience. I'm not saying it was good, but what I am saying is my experience with it was I sent my Xbox in, like within 2 days, dude, I got my Xbox back, and they paid for everything. They paid for the shipping. It was easy. I had to right down the road. I have a UPS store. Was able to go over there. No, not UPS, Federal Express. One of those shipping stores. I was able to go down there. I was and all I had to do was print a thing up. They packed it up for everything. I had to pay for nothing. And then the next like 2 days later, boom. Actually, the next day and the day after, yeah, 2 days. Boom. I had a 360 on my doorstep. And what it was they took mine. They didn't refurbish it or anything. They just gave me a new one. And that showed me the power of Microsoft in a nutshell. Something that I could grasp onto because I'm a gamer. Because a lot of companies can't do that, dude. If they're having the Sony Nintendo, they're done. They could never recover from something like that. And Microsoft was just like, and then of course, just watch the documentary. Peter Moore, like he went to Steve Ballmer, thought he was gonna get chewed up, and then or chewed out, and then Steve looked at him and says, "Well, how much is this gonna cost?" Peter Moore told him the figures, and then Steve Ballmer wrote the check right there, and they solved that problem. Right. So that's what I'm listening to people say it. I'm like, dude, they've spent time and money on this stuff, and they decided not to release it. Again, dude, that's that for all these people out there. Again, especially the haters, man. If you guys think that's Microsoft, that Microsoft doesn't have that clout, dude, that's a perfect example right there. I'm not look, dude. If you're a fan, Vontae, like obviously me, Vontae, and Unlimited. I mean, it would have been cool to have it to play it. They'll put it in Game Pass. If you like it, you can buy it. Like E-Rock said, there's all this stuff that you could have possibilities you could add with the game. But a lot of us, let's be honest, dude. If Halo goes away, yeah, definitely. Gears goes away, and of course this will never happen. But I'm just saying, right? If they shut down again, Fable, dude, it's one of the reasons I'm an Xbox guy. That's one of those franchises that got me on Xbox, right? So if Fable, like with Fable Legends, I was disappointed, right? But as we know, Fable's going to come out next year. They already talked about it. Oh, sorry, Vontae. Let me get to your comment. Vontae says, just because Microsoft got the money to blow on things like this doesn't mean they should. If it costs too much money and time than necessary, it should get cut off. That's mean, but it is what it is. Yeah, Vontae. And that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the business. Again, you guys got to remember that video gaming is also part of the entertainment industry, right? There's a lot of people right now that was on a project, movie got canceled. A lot of people on a project for a television show, never happened, right? Television show had a great first season, high ratings, dude. Again, a lot of people liked it, and then they don't get renewed. I'm sitting back, and that's something I have to realize, Vontae, because I'm older, and I've experienced that. E-Rock can definitely talk about that, right? In our lifetime and stuff like that, because we've been around this for so long. We've been doing pop culture for the longest time, and so it's not new to us. Maybe that's why we're kind of numb to it. But again, I mean, for me, Vontae, it's just like, dude, I mean, not a lot of companies can do that. Apple, Amazon, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Google at one time could. I know Google's kind of hurting right now. But Microsoft is incorporating. If you guys don't, this is why I tell people they should follow Satya Nadella, both on social media and then watch the stuff that he puts out. And and again, you might not like what Satya is saying, but if you want an idea of what Microsoft is doing underneath his leadership, right? Underneath what the direction he wants to go, Microsoft to go as a company, right? And when he acknowledged Xbox, he incorporated it into the company, and that's why we're dealing with all this now. And I'm not saying us like again, you guys know me, man. Very couple things that I do not like. Other than that, everything else, dude. It is what it is, man. I mean, and then in order to get the backing and the money and the stuff like that to do what they want to do, that's just how it is, especially now. A lot of people, at some point in time, could call their shots, could do what they wanted to do. Probably had a little bit more freedom in their careers, free to choose certain things and stuff like that. That's not those times, man. Dude, I work in a job where a lot of people were working from home, and that stuff got shut down and like overnight, and people were sitting there left saying, "Oh, I got to go back to work," because what ended up happening, some of these people, they don't live where their job is. They actually move to a different place and just do it because they can work from home. They just were working from home from a different state, and some of these dudes have to relocate, man. It is what it is. Crazy. Some people walked away, man. I know people that were like, okay, well, then they went and found a job where they were. right? That's the reality, you know. So like I tell my kids all the time, you gotta be fluid. You gotta be able to adjust when it comes to money and economy, especially now, right? So to me, Fonte, at the end of the day, well, to everyone in the comment section, too, man, thanks for being a T Reaper, all you guys, man, that are popped in. At the end of the day, dude, it's that would be if I looked at Microsoft as an enemy, that would be scary to me that they can actually do that. Because a lot of people lay off huge portions of their, well, it's not even huge by Microsoft standards, but there's people that lay people off, and that's a bad sign for the company, and they close. Right? And Microsoft has been laying off people for like, over 2 years now, some more than others, or sometimes more than others, right? But yeah, good point about that. And then, like I said, everybody's bringing up Scalebound, right? Because that's what makes it back into the circle. And then that one, there's this one guy I follow, man, and I just told him straight up, I was like, "Did you know that the dude was using the money instead of working on Xbox games? They were using that money to make other games and putting Scalebound on the back burner, right? And that's why you guys weren't. That's why we didn't really hear anything from them, right? Ebot talks about that all the time, right? So what would you do in that situation, man? Nobody would deal with that. And the funny thing is that Phil and Xbox let them go, gave them slack, dude. And then when it came to that one time when he was supposed to show up, and what they showed, dude, is basically you could tell they hadn't made no progress, dude. And of course, like everybody else did, I was looking forward to the game. Premise was interesting. Game looked like it was going to be solid, right? But at the end of the day, they have to make the call. And again, dude, all these people talking about like this greedy and all this kind of stuff. No, dude, it's not Phil Spencer. Again, I wish Phil was greedy. I wish Phil was more of a prick. I'll be honest with you. Like if Phil saw one of my videos and told me to, to stuff it, you don't know what you're talking about. Your channel sucks. I would actually, I wouldn't mind, right? Because he's such a nice guy, right? And dude, I just, if Microsoft and Phil was as bad as people said they were, dude, again, Nintendo would be owned by Microsoft, and Sony would be gone a long time ago if they really wanted to, because they have that kind of clout. And again, maybe when E-Rock comes back, we'll talk about it. But if you guys have any thoughts on AI, man, because I think that's a big push for all of this stuff. I was thinking about that this past week, man, and of course all the stuff that I keep up with, and that's where everybody's main focus on. And I don't necessarily think it's bad in that aspect, but I mean, this is why they're probably making some of the moves that they're doing, right? You see other industries doing that as well, right? It's happening where I work. They're like, I don't know, we can keep that position gone because down the road, it's probably not going to be needed, right? People are cutting their losses now when it comes to this stuff, and I mean, it's a change, right? It's a change that people are going to have to adjust to. Um, but I'm kind of wondering, like, how are they going to use this tech to improve their business model, right? And I'm talking about Microsoft proper, not just Xbox now. Specifically with Xbox, dude, I've already talked about that on this channel. Some of the stuff I like to see them do. Use Starfield as an example, for how they can expand the universe, expand the games. What game was I playing the other day, man? I was playing this multiplayer, and when I played it, oh no, I was playing Call of Duty World War II, and I was on, and there was not a lot of people on it. It just released in Game Pass. I got up to check it and make sure it downloaded, right? Because I'm not going to stream any game like that. So I started up the game. It started up. Everything was fine. And then when I tried to get into games, it was taking forever. And they were smart. They have double XP weekend going on World War II, Call of Duty World War II. With double XP going on, and they have double XP on like the zombies. They brought back Shipment, which was a popular mode. I remember for World War II, I used to play it all the time. That's double XP. So they got all this stuff. They have all their, you can tell they planned this out perfectly to get people back in. But when I tried to jump on, and I know I just downloaded it, it just released, but there was not a lot of people playing the game. So the thing that I could see is them actually filling out some of these games with, if they want these games, because look, dude, they want these service games, right? Because people, I dropped $50 on Towerborn. I bought $50 worth of in-game cash, right? Then I went and got the stuff that I wanted. The Towerborn, I will say, I don't give money. Look, dude, this is why I don't lose my mind about this kind of stuff, dude. If you have to sell me, you have to sell your product to me. I'm just not going to give you my money just because, right? There's something that you have to do for me, or something that you have to show me to get you to give me to get me to give you your money. Dude, I'm old school, man. I grew up that way, right? And Towerborn, as far as the game, has some problems, but everything else is great, and it's a great game. I was looking forward to this game. It exceeded my expectations. I can see that this thing can grow, and then the stuff that they're selling to me is awesome. Let me see. But the stuff that they're selling to me is awesome, so I didn't have any problem, right? I did hold off a little bit, right? I got the Founders Pack to support them. I did hold off a little bit because I was experiencing some problems the first week. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait a little while. And they didn't have much options, so I did pick up some stuff again to support them. And the way that they have their currency in there, you don't necessarily have to buy things unless you really want to, but they have enough content in there that you can find stuff that you like, even when you're playing the game. There's skins and stuff like that for your characters that you're gonna like and that you're gonna use, and that's great. And then they have this in-game currency that you can work towards by doing goals and stuff like that, and then you collect that, and they have other stuff that you can unlock, right? And they kind of straddle that line um, with the access, right, with the online component. That is right there, right on the line, but it's perfectly done in my opinion, as a person who consumes this kind of stuff, right? So I don't ever feel like I have to buy something where I feel cheated, right? The choice is all mine, and that's the one thing a lot of these service games don't understand, and you have to get a better grip of most of them, right? You make the customer feel like they're getting something. It's that simple, dude. It has not changed since the dawn of capitalism, since the dawn of time, actually, right? Nobody wants to feel like they're getting taken advantage of. Everybody wants to feel like they're important, that they're getting a good deal, right? That's that. At the end of the day, that's what they should be focusing on. So Vante says the only problem with AI is how far we push it. It ultimately is up to us. Yeah, 100%, Vante, 100%. And I could see benefits of it. I can see a lot of problems with it as well. And the sad thing, I hate to say this, Vante, is a lot of those problems is not stem from, if I'm being 100%, it's not really the technology. It's the people behind the technology. I'm just going to be 100%, dude. I watch a lot of content. I tend to follow people that think in that type of mindset, man, and the things that can be done with AI where it could be so good is amazing. The stuff that can be done with AI that's absolutely corruptible, and evil. That's the best word I can come up is there as well. And it's kind of, I'm not saying it's frightening, dude. It's kind of like, if we got our head on straight and we use it for good, if we use our powers for good, then it'll be a good thing. But if not, watch out. you know. And I'm talking beyond all the greediness and stuff. I'm talking some real, you know, new world order stuff that could be happening. But at the end of the day, dude, if they can use this AI to help create bigger, better worlds, to fill in the blanks, especially when it comes to the multiplayer aspect, it's something that I had a long conversation when I was testing out Grok. And I had this long conversation. I might do a video about that with me just answering Grok questions, and then you guys can jump in the chat, and then we'll ask Grok together. Just like this long conversation about AI and what it means, what it can do, its limitations, and it was really cool. It was really cool. Now, again, like I said in previous videos, when you use AI, you gotta know the most important thing is knowing what you want to know and knowing how to phrase the question, how to set it up. Because you'll talk to AI sometimes. They're just you got to you got to you have to think about what you want to say and kind of phrase it. Actually, you could use AI to ask the question for you too. If you can't find the right words, or you can't put it down on paper what you really want to know. Because if you ask Grok a basic question, it'll just give you the basic answer, and then it'll give you some other stuff and stuff like that. But when you're trying to be meta with AI, that's the hard part. I think people struggle with. I kind of think in that way too, so I'm not opposed to just writing anything. Right. And the whole thing with the AI, I was asking them about gaming and stuff like that, and the things that I think, it was kind of confirmed. Right, so I don't have a problem with them. Like if I'm going on Call of Duty, I have more of a problem being online and not having a full lobby. Right now, I would prefer to be more human characters, but if they can fill that other stuff up and then expand for that in the game, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Right, but again, the main crux of all that is making AI seem more human, and that's in fact when I was talking to Grok about that, that's what he was saying.
All right, I'm back, Daddy. Yo.
Hey, E-Rock, dude, I kind of switched gears. talking about AI and with what Microsoft is doing, because I think it has a lot to do. You know, while everybody's like running around with their chicken, like a chicken with their head cut off.
Yeah.
The thing that irks me about that is we can't have real conversations about what is obvious that Microsoft is doing. Um, because all the tech companies are doing it, dude. It's in your face every day. I see it at my job. AI is a thing now, moving forward, and I actually think that's one of the main reasons why Microsoft is doing what they're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Not with just Microsoft proper, the company. I mean, also with Xbox.
they're all under one umbrella. Is synergy what goes on with Microsoft
Yeah,
and Windows and Surface goes on with Xbox. The reason why we can't have a real conversation is because I'll say about 99% of the gamers out there, and that's a huge thing. 99% of these gamers,
yeah,
the gaming media, these YouTubers, they're all frauds. They're all liars. They're all
100%.
liars. If they're not out to get clicks and views for their bullshit YouTube channel, um, like never ever does their what me and Unlimited call it is cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah,
Their emotions and their feelings say one thing, but it never lines up with any kind of logic, right? Um, like I said before, they all want gaming. They all want Xbox and gaming to be like it was back in the 2000s and the 90s, and it's never going to be that again. These companies, whether it be Xbox, Microsoft, Apple, whether it be, I don't know, UBF, fucking Amazon, they have to adapt and change to new technologies or get lost in the shuffle. I mean, Amazon is probably going to be using different kinds of AI and stuff. It's just part of. I mean, it's just part of businesses change and have to adapt. And I remember when we switched formats of how we consume and watch television. We used to consume television here in the United States, or in Hawaii too, and Hawaii is part of the United States. We
hmm
used to consume television through these cable companies. You would actually rent a box. You would rent a box. The cable company would rent a box with all kinds of state fees, licensing fees, and you would pay for a programming package, and that's how you viewed your programming. Well, Netflix broke that. I don't know whether it was deliberate or not. Netflix broke that and said, no, we're going to do streaming now. We're not going to mail DVDs out to you. And I'm sure they didn't know they was going to crush the cable companies, but they said we're going to put a ton of content at your fingertips for $19 a month. Oh wow, well, I guess I better buy a big TV. Well, what if you can't afford a TV? They sat and thought about that at Netflix,
yeah,
headquartered in El Gato, California. They sat and thought about that. Well, we're going to put our Netflix app on your phone. We're gonna put it on your we're gonna put it and it's gonna be in laundromats. God damn it, it's gonna be on your toaster. It's gonna be on your laptop. It's gonna be on your tablet. They thought about this, right? And
hmm
now they are the worldwide global leader of streaming with no end in sight to their dominance, with their competitors choking on their dust trying to catch up, right? Because they were ready to adapt to the change. Server-based entertainment, right? Delivered by your shit delivered through fucking fiber optics, and everybody fought against it. Blockbuster fought against it. Everybody fought against it. But look what happened. Apple, they came out with the iPhone in 2007, changed the industry. Everybody's been trying to catch up. Some cell phone companies makers like Motorola have caught up, but I mean, Apple just left everybody in their wait because they was ready to adapt and change. And I'm sure there's people that fought. What Xbox is doing and has always done is embrace future technology while their competitors, Sony and Nintendo, have stayed tethered to the past. And what happens when a company like that stays tethered to the past, their fan base want you to be tethered to the past.
yeah,
So AI is a thing, it's going to be a thing. Microsoft is investing in artificial intelligence heavily, right?
yep.
You're going to see artificial intelligence in gaming. You're going to see it in movies. It is what it is, man. Nobody fucking watches DVDs no more. I mean, you got a few holdouts, a few hipster doofuses still listening to vinyl, but things change, man. Things
And
change.
do you know vinyl actually because of everything, dude? It's thriving because what it did, it became niche, right? So just like how
Mhm.
somebody goes and buys a Coach bag, that's what
Yeah.
vinyl turned into. It's
Uh-huh.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there'll always be people out there that buy physical copies of games, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you and Hebot have had this conversation over and over again in limited production
Yeah.
about digital versus physical, and we're finding out now, slowly but surely, that a lot of your physical games are nothing but coasters for your coffee. I recently I bought a game from 2007 that I was hunting down for years. It's a game called Overlord from 2007. And I just
Oh,
wanted it. Yeah, because I loved it the first time I played it, but I never really finished it. So now, even with all this huge backlog, I'm trying to finish the game, right? And a funny thing happened when I put it into my Xbox Series X. It didn't just boot up like I thought it would, right? It
mm,
said Overlord needs an update, and the update was 3 gigabytes. Well, do you know what that 3 gigabytes was? It
no.
was the Xbox Series X downloading the fucking game off the internet. Because the Xbox Series X don't know what that fucking DVD is from 2007. It doesn't know where any of Heba and y'all's games are, right? That's why, if you notice, every time you put a disc game in your Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S, it needs an update. And that update is about 3 gigabytes or 7 gigabytes, right? Well, it turns out I did a search on Google. That 3 gigabytes is the exact file size of Overlord. So what that lets me know is that that disc ain't worth shit. That I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. And if you go on Amazon and look at the price for physical games, it's going through the roof. It's going through the roof because the what do they call it? What do they call it? The the retro gaming market
Yeah, retro gaming
is
market.
just gotten crazy. There's games out there, man. They want $200 and $300 and $500 for it, right? And when you put that shit in your Xbox, it's going to say needs an update. And that update is the damn Xbox downloading the fucking game. It's going to happen every time. It is what it is. And people have been complaining about that. But I mean, we're moving into a digital world. We're moving into AI. Um, we're moving into an age where, with these big acquisitions, there's going to be layoffs. People are going to get laid off. It's quite unfortunate. But I mean, like, I gotta ask people like what are you bitching about? Like as the end user, as the end consumer, I now because of the moves that Phil Spencer made since 2017, I now have more games I can even finish. And that's a conversation I was telling Unlimited Production and Dia and the guys on the Unlimited Production podcast 2 weeks ago. That's a conversation we've never had before. That that we're like,
That's a
damn,
conversation worth having, actually. Yeah. 100%.
Unlimited production. Unlimited was like, yo, man, I can't play any more games. I'm like, yo, I'm burnt out. Like,
Mm.
who the fuck says that? Sega forever? Like, yo, man, I can't play anything. Like, I literally haven't touched Atom Fall. I'm gonna try to get to that in September. Um, I just disengaged with Assassin's Creed Shadows, not because it's a great game. It's just I still have to finish this game called South of Midnight. Like,
Yeah.
yo, man, it's crazy. And we still got more games coming.
You know,
Clockwork Revolution.
Assassin's Creed is like one of those games too with the side missions. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
you just don't finish it, right? There's
Oh
like
no,
a lot of stuff that you gotta
you
do.
you you just don't finish it. But I
Yeah.
mean, like Sega Man always says, he has this saying. His saying is, "We eating good over here," and
Yeah.
man, we're not eating good. We eating like hogs over here. We eating like pigs over here. Like it's crazy. And over there, on the ones that always keep Xbox in their mouth, they finally got a game. Death Stranding 2. They finally got a fucking game. So you figure they be playing that shit and they be happy. Like, nope, no, they're not. They never gonna be happy over there. But I really don't engage with them or think about them anymore, man. You know, we all have our own lives going on, and Xbox has exceeded anything I ever expected them to be, become, or do. Everybody all mad at Phil. Oh, Phil needs to lose his job for what? He made that goddamn company profitable. What does he need to lose his job for?
Yeah.
Eh, eh,
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
Yo, man, he turned things around. He turned things around. Xbox is always profitable, but we got to be honest. They were on the back foot. They were on the back foot in 2017, 2016, depending on they had their first party studios, but they were mostly dependent on third party publishers and third party developers. They put an end to that shit, sake of ever.
Hmm.
They put a listen. Black Myth Wukong is only appearing on Xbox because they allow it. They wanted to. Okay, Helldivers, which we thought was PlayStation exclusive, but it's not. It
Oh, yeah.
wasn't, and neither was Black Myth Wukong. And Phil just putting them on there just for shits and giggles. We didn't really need those games.
No.
Xbox is leveraged for the next 30 years, man. So I mean, we in a good position over here, man. I mean, we're eating good over here. This company is on fire right now. So usually when you're on fire, that's when the bad news comes. But like this bad news is so minuscule and so laughable.
Well,
It's
it upsets me because it tells me like, man, look, dude, I just gotta be honest, man. The gaming community, dude, I have no trust in any of these people, right? Because it wouldn't bother me so much if they would acknowledge that it's happening all over the place, right?
yeah,
But these
yeah.
dudes are just like, no, it's just Microsoft. I'm like, bro, where I work, dude, the only thing that saved us at my job was that we got gutted like 2 years ago, right? Like where I work got gutted, and I moved to another job.
Wow,
And
wow,
so by the time they tried to gut again, we was already like we was already where they couldn't do anymore. You know what I'm
wow,
saying? So that's
wow.
what I'm saying. So that's the experiences that people was having. And then you do a videos like, yeah, Microsoft sucks. It's going to go down. They laid off 99,000. I said, bro, I work for an industry that laid off 275,000 personnel.
But but
275,000 personnel.
but here's what's corny about these dudes.
Yeah.
They completely ignored the fact that Sony fucking closed studios,
Yeah.
PlayStation laid off people, PlayStation canceled 13 games, PlayStation lost 400 million on Concord. It's just so crazy how these dudes could flip the script
Mhm.
and just ignore what happened to their favorite company and solely focus on Xbox all the time. And it's just jealousy. I know what the fuck it is. It is what it is. It's just they are just mad because they want Xbox to go away, but Xbox ain't going away and it's thriving. And they're just mad because we get treated like royalty over here. Well, I mean, like Sega Man said, just go buy an Xbox. Why sit over there and continue to be tortured? Like why? It's the craziest shit. I gave up trying to figure these cats out. I said somebody should do like a dissertation or a whole study on like how these dudes let an entire brand be their identity and how these dudes. Yeah, I know this is coming from a guy that's got a damn Xbox logo on his face on his logo. But like I don't live and breathe this shit every day like Jay Barry do, like say like Dreamcast guy do, like all of these dudes do, like Crap Gamer do. I'm sure Crap Gamer having a blowing a gasket right now. Like these dudes like dude. And here's a scary thing, sake of ever. These dudes are my age. I'm 56, right? So when I got started in YouTube about 10 years ago, man, you know what I mean? So that means I was about 45, 46 when I got started in this YouTube shit, right?
Mhm.
And that was pretty old then. So that means the Crap Gamer and Zaire and them and Dreamcast guy, they got to be in their 40s or 50s, acting like petulant little children over these toys. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the thing is, video gaming ain't ever going to go back to what y'all wanted to be. It's not going to go back to Nintendo versus Sega. It's not going to go back to that. And all your little precious exclusives over there in Sony, guess what? They're going to be on Xbox soon. They're going to be, I bet you they thought the Helldivers was never going to be on Xbox. I bet you they thought, I don't know why they thought that Black Myth Wukong was theirs. We knew it wasn't Jaws, right? We knew it wasn't Jaws. And we knew all of that shit that the Black Myth Wukong developer was talking about. Well, we can't really get it to work on the Xbox Series S bullshit. Just say the truth. Sony money headed that shit for a year. That's all. Just say
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody knows it.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
timing was just way too perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so y'all found a way to make that shit work all of a sudden, huh? Come on, man, get out of here with that bullshit.
It's rare that I'll ever agree with Destin, but even he got it right this time. He was like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, they thought the Death Stranding. They thought the Death Stranding was theirs. What's that dude? They worship. Hideo Kojima said, "Nope, nope, it's
Well,
not. It's a multiplayer." And guess what? Your precious uh Death Stranding 2, that'll be on Xbox. I wish it wouldn't, because Death Stranding 1 sucked ass. I paid $20 for that shit. Played it for about 10 minutes. It was like, yo, man, I'm gonna have to eat it on that $20. That shit to me was garbage, man. I mean, it just was. You know, I walked around for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I ran into this chick played by the girl is from Spectre and the girl is from No Time to Die. And it was this ghost walking around. And I said, and then she was like, "You gotta go walk some more." I was like, "No, I'm done, bitch. I ain't walking nowhere else.
I could do this in
I
real
ain't
life.
walk, I ain't walking nowhere else."
Dude,
Vontae says, and they're still denying the Black Myth thing, talking about some, oh, they always, yo, man, exactly, Vontae, exactly. Listen, we none of us here are here to cook for Xbox. Like on the Unlimited Truth and when the Exile podcast was up, all we trying to do, man, is expose the nonsense. That's all. It's just expose it, get expose the nonsense. This is gaming. Look, enjoy whatever platform that you want to enjoy, but just stop the nonsense, man. That's all. Don't nobody need to be running their. If anybody should be running their mouths, as Xbox dudes, because we eating good. We, like I said, we eating like hogs over here. PlayStation, y'all finally got a game after an unbelievable drought. Nintendo over there charging y'all $10 for an instruction manual. Like, yo, man, like what are we talking about? Charging y'all $10 for an instruction manual. What is it? $400 for underpowered hardware. Like, come on, man. Just stop the foolishness, man. It's just so crazy. It's just really so crazy.
Hey, Vontae, good comment. But E-Rock, let me ask you something, dude. So, a lot of times when this happens, dude, it goes in cycles. So, usually when Microsoft gets something like that with the news, they usually drop something within like a week or two. Do you think they're going to drop any big news?
I have no idea. It came in reverse this time. They dropped the bad news after Sarah Bond told us Sarah Bond announced new hardware. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're coming out with the handheld that I'm not excited about, but somebody will buy it. See, that's the thing about gaming is you gotta try to keep everybody happy. So the handheld people that are in the handhelds are excited about that. Plus, this will be the first Xbox anything that's open, this like open source, like you could run shit from other stores on it.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Like I want Steam to come to the Xbox console. That's what I want. That's what I
Oh, yeah,
want.
it's coming. They're testing.
Because guys, the Xbox, the only custom console out there is Nintendo. The Xbox and the PlayStation are PCs. That's all. They're PCs with different branding on them, right? So I want Steam to come to Xbox because Steam be having like them games in beta that like it takes forever to come to console. Like it's a boxing game called Undisputed, right? That finally came out last year, but it was on Steam for years. So they got bangers over there, man. That I wanna play, man. So I'm hoping Steam come to Xbox, man. That'll be a game changer. But I mean,
There's a
game.
channel. There's a channel called Game Trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got onto them because an Xbox game, and normally follow the Xbox channel, but then they clipped over to that one, and so I subscribed to this channel because if you want to see what's coming out, and then a lot of them are focusing on Steam. There's this thing called Zeverland, which is like a
Mm-hmm.
zombie game. So the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing about it is, man, because you know how Nintendo is, right? Like what they did to Power World, and then Xbox got a game coming out that looks like probably Nintendo won't be happy about.
Oh, good grief.
But this game Zeverland, dude, the characters in there, because me and my daughter watched the trailer, the characters look like Animal Crossing characters. But
Oh
it's a
wow.
zombie. Yeah, but it's like a State of Decay 3 with an open world zombie
Okay,
apocalypse.
that's cool.
Yes. Yeah, cool for now. Until Nintendo will be like.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, so what the thing that got me was like, oh yeah. And so I've been looking at the trailers. So like you said, dude, there's a lot of games that are going to PC and Steam, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually we get it on Xbox. For
Man,
the
I
most part.
saw, I saw, Yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of the fact I guess a lot of these developers are small, right?
Hmm.
So it's less risk putting they shit on Steam first and letting it get traction.
Yeah,
Because there was this game that he might have told me about years ago, man, like 3 years ago, that finally came to Xbox last year called Harold Halibut. It's
yeah,
like it looked like it's like claymation or some shit like that,
yeah.
or like stop motion puppets. But that was on Steam forever. Um, there's
Did
this
you play
game
it?
that's
Did you play it?
yeah, I started it and I gotta get like I told you, man, our backlog is real over here on Xbox.
Dude,
Our back
that game is dialogue heavy. My daughter
yeah,
beat it,
it's
and to,
dialogue, it's
yeah,
dialogue heavy, but the artwork is tremendous. I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
give
it's
him credit.
amazing. That was the drive because she's a creative type person, so that's what
Hmm.
drew her to push. That's what she loved about it. But man, she
Hmm.
was playing that game nonstop.
Nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice, nice.
it was crazy.
There's this they got this on Steam. They got this sword fighting game. This sort of reminds you of this game called Bushido Blade. It's called Hellish Court, right? It's
Oh
like
yeah, 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 that
yeah,
sounds.
it's like sword fighting in like the 14th century. Yo, man, I want that. That shit look tight, right? But they got this boxing game coming out, and I forget the name of it. But the boxing game is with like puppets, but the
Yeah, yeah,
shit
yeah, yeah. I saw that.
yeah, yo, the shit look real, man.
Yeah.
The shit look real. See, Steam gets all that weird, quirky shit like that,
Mhm.
right? And so it's stuff by like small developers. Maybe it's one or two folks making it, and they don't have enough money to take a big risk because Xbox. I don't think Xbox is putting any more money behind shit unless it's massive. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
days of them putting money behind Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest, that's over. That's over. And I'm glad that Phil shifted gears. I don't care what nobody says. I'm glad he bought publishers. And so I hear all these complaints. Well, what's the big? Why do you buy all these publishers if he's going to cancel games and lay people off? Man, shit gets canceled. That's part of the damn business. Layoffs happen. It ain't great when it's happening to you, but that's a part of life. You
You know,
know.
I think because they were having, I mean, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, dude, one thing these people don't understand is that they're also shifting those resources, right? So, like for example, they probably canceled these two games, but like I said, I've been playing Towerborn nonstop, and there's a very active community on Towerborn. And if I'm going to shift money, I will shift it there because I can
Yeah.
tell. You know, when I play, it's like COD. When I play Towerborn, I'm not the only one with the armor. Like you can tell who buys and who doesn't.
Hmm.
And when
Hmm.
I'm running over there thinking I'm special because I got the owl armor, because it took me forever to open it up, and then I had to buy the thing. I had to spend money to get the access, and then I'm like, oh, I'm cool. And then this person comes running by with the same armor, and so
Right.
I'm happy about that because it shows that okay, these people are making money, and you can participate, but you don't have to. But I think that's what they're doing, right? Xbox is like, okay, well, we'll shift some money there. Let's make sure that this, like when we saw the showcase, right? Like, what's that game? High on Life 2.
Yeah.
uh, like those couple of games, they did really well on Game Pass and they did really well for the company. So again, man, that's what irritates about these people. Like they talk about Microsoft like they're not rich, right? Microsoft is like above the 1%. That's right. Microsoft ain't even the 1%. They're like above the 1%. That's how much money, dude. Their stock right now is like 400 something a share or some crap, some outrageous price index, man.
But the thing is,
Oh, but
the thing is, like, I encountered this level of stupidity when WWE WWE every year after WrestleMania
hmm,
they do a bunch of firings, right? They
yeah,
hire some people and they fire a lot of people, right?
yeah,
And I saw stupidity in videos and comment sections. Well, WWE has enough money where they can keep these people employed. And
yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. What business do any of y'all run? And what business do you have the money to keep paying 15, 16 people that you're not using $300,000 a year? That adds up. That adds up. And usually when companies get bigger and get successful, but they made so much money last year. They made so much money with WrestleMania 40 and WrestleMania 41. The business hasn't changed in 120 years.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
you want to make profits. You want to make profits and be profitable without losing money. That's business 101. And just because Xbox is big Just because Xbox and Microsoft are massive, they probably looked at what's making money, what isn't making money, what you know. Listen, I love Rare as much as the next person, man.
Yeah.
I've been singing the praises of Sea of Thieves for Jesus Christ. How long has it been? 7 years now. I've been singing the praises of Sea of Thieves, and it is Rare's, and this is factual. It is Rare's most successful game to date. It is their biggest, most successful game. Right? They need to. They can now allocate resources to something else. It was taking ever while too long to come out. They had a shift in direction in mid development, okay, which doesn't show a problem with Microsoft. It shows a problem with Rare that they couldn't get that game done in 5 years. So Phil is the X Man. You know what he does. He cancels shit. Um,
You know what though,
uh,
Matt Booty, man, Matt Booty probably, he's like got an iron fist on those studios, dude. And if they don't produce, man, Matt Booty's probably like, you know what, dude, we're gonna have to cut our losses on this, absorb some of those resources back into the company, back into the other studios, let them utilize it. Dude, I wouldn't
Se-
be surprised.
Sega forever on your job. If you don't produce, you get fired. Right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's just life. Now I don't.
Especially now,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I'd be having to write. I was having to write. What 5 things did you do this week? I'm like, it was yeah, dude. We in that. I mean, to your point, like that's why I kind of, I know I'm old, bro. We grew up wrestling the same way, and some of these dudes will come on and talk about it and shit their feelings online. I'm like, bro, don't do that, bro. You went on a show, you made it to the big time. Keep some perspective, bro, because you didn't do the Chitlin circuit. Like when I was growing up watching these wrestlers, bro, they was going all through Nashville, they was going
Mm-hmm.
to Pomona,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
understand, dude. But it's the nature of the business, and if you don't connect, you're exactly right. That has never changed about wrestling, dude. You got to draw an audience, dude. You have to be on that level where people, you got to draw the eyeballs, you got to get people excited, you got people to buy the merchandise. That's always been what wrestling's about, dude. And some people make it, some people don't. You know.
Yeah, yeah, man. And as far as this gaming shit here, man, like you gotta produce. Like I don't like reporting on rumors, because sometimes rumors could be unsubstantiated. But this was an article in IGN that
Mhm.
it's very quite possible that the layoffs have gutted the company called Turn 10, who makes Forza Motorsport,
Yeah.
right? So it's no secret that the last I'll say 10 years, Forza Horizon has surpassed Forza Motorsports as the premier racing franchise on Xbox. It just is what it is, right? And it's no secret that maybe Forza Motorsports, the original franchise, reached its peak with Forza Motorsports 4, which came out on Xbox 360 back in 2010, I believe.
Five
Um,
five was my favorite.
five was, I remember, I got five. Five was nice.
Yeah.
It's no secret that the recent Forza Motorsports released a bit troublesome. It had bugs, it had problems. To Turn 10's credit, it took them a year, but they fixed everything. The textures in the game are different. The lighting's different. The playability is different. The deliveries and the lobbies are different. Forza Motorsports 2023 is in a much better state in 2025 than it was when it launched. The problem is that something happened internally at Turn 10 to allow Forza Motorsport to be released in the state that it was released in 2023. And Phil and Matt Booty and Sarah Bond, and they're looking at this stuff, Sega Forever.
Hmm.
They're looking at this and deciding what do we do next with these intellectual properties and these studios that we own. They're constantly looking as a fiscally responsible company that has to be responsible for their
But
other studios.
but then Turn 10 is supposed to be working on another game too, so that could be the reason as well. And it's not a racing game. There's supposed to be another game that Turn 10 is supposed to be working on another project.
Oh, and that's interesting because we know Playground Games, they do the Forza Horizon series.
Yeah,
So
sorry, Playground games. Yeah,
yeah,
Playground.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean, the main Turn 10 team, supposedly, one of the top guys that's there is left.
Yeah.
Um, a top guy that was with Rare for 35 years. He left. So I mean, this stuff happens, man. This stuff happens. You know, just because people get laid off and things change does not mean a company's going under. Usually things change when a company's doing great. It is what it is. Look at WWE. Fonte says the WWE thing is even crazier because they're still classified under independent contractors, but they can't work anywhere else. You know what?
It's
Yeah, like
it's the brand.
look,
It's the brand, Vontae. They ripped the brand. This one.
over the last couple of years, Triple H and WWE have been a little bit looser with
Yeah.
they're independent contractors, but they are employees. So that's a great area. We could be talking about that all night. That is a great area, but
Yeah. That's the
they,
rep.
they they have allowed them to do some independent date, but it all depends, right? But like WWE, they don't want like they don't want like John Cena. They don't want like John Cena or Karrion Cross showing up in New Japan, right? They don't want fucking Dominic Mysterio showing up in fucking AEW. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have to you uh, look, I think it's a fantastic thing that AEW and some companies let their people do independent dates and do little like they have a talent at AEW called Mercedes Monet, right? and
Mm,
and she appears everywhere, which I think is great. It gets her out there.
I
It
really
gets
like.
the like she appears places like she don't have to. Like because Tony Khan reportedly gave her $3 million. Like she's a very rich, very smart young woman, despite all the hate she gets. But
Dude,
like
she was in
W,
the Mandalorian, bro. She was
yeah,
really
yeah,
good too.
yeah. She's doing good, and she ain't bad to look at neither. Shit.
No, no,
But
no. She,
WWE, they like to brand their stars, right? So I mean, things are great over there now. They got a partnership with TNA Wrestling. They just bought AAA, which is a wrestling promotion down in Mexico. So there's plenty of opportunity for their stars to do other things. But like the whole not letting guys work other places thing is also so they don't get hurt. So they don't go somewhere and do some crazy shit, like jump off of a table and do some dumb shit. They like to when you're producing like 9 hours of television each week and you got all of these dates, you kind of like to control where your people are at all times. And I understand why. You know what I mean?
so
So
what do you think of the new crop of wrestlers in the WWE?
I think it's fantastic. I think wrestling is hotter now. It, we can sit and debate. Well, I don't know if it'll ever be hot as it was from 1996 to 2005, but but I'm really excited about what WWE is doing, man. I mean, you got under one umbrella Dominic Mysterio, who became he's a fucking star. You
Mm,
got fucking Penta, who's a fucking star. You got Ray Phoenix, who's Penta's brother, who he's not a star yet, but he will be if they push you. You got fucking uh main event Jey Uso, who's a star. Cody Rhodes, who's a star. Rhea Ripley, who's a star. Like they've got legit stars there, and you got this international talent coming over, like Julia. And I've been following Julia since she was over in Japan. She's fucking amazing.
yeah.
You got Stephanie Vacker from South America. She's amazing. They got stars there, man, and they brought in TNA talent like Jordan Grace and goddamn man, even there are people down in NXT like Trick Williams. He's a fucking star. They are a star factory. They are doing something right now that AEW isn't doing. AEW's biggest star was Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and let them go for some dumb reason, for
Mhm.
stupidity. Their biggest star other than them was MJF, and they got him now in the mid card with the fucking hurt business or the hurt syndicate or whatever the fuck MVP is calling his group now and shit. Because if I see MVP on the internet another day bitching about WWE, man, somebody has to shut him up, please. Um, WWE is a star making factory. and everybody hating on them. It is what it is. When
Nah,
you're
it's
when you're
amazing
number
because they're you know what I mean. It's not their consistency, dude. A lot of like you remember the Bullet Club, like I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
All Japan
yeah, the Bullet Club. New Japan been playing that card now for 10, 11 years or more. Yeah.
Yeah, so they I remember when they hit, dude, because old boy was over there, right?
Uh-huh.
I watched his dad wrestle, and then he was there, dude, and they hit hard. But unlike WWE, man, I don't know what it is. WWE just has a way to sustain. I mean, they can have their highs and their lows, but it doesn't matter, man. WWE just is able to sustain that level of
Do,
quality.
do you know what they do you know what they did? What they did was, and I didn't even know for the longest time. I quit NXT. There used to be a brand called NXT UK, right? And
Oh,
I
okay.
quit that. I quit that late, just as they closed down. But I only just got into NXT the last couple of years because I didn't watch NXT when it started. There was a while I wasn't even watching wrestling. I just got bored with it. But what
Yeah.
WWE did was they built their own farm where they can bring in new talent, or they can organically raise new talent like Dominic Mysterio, like Trick Williams, right? And so what they're doing is they're stockpiling stars, so that when Jay Uso goes down, Trick Williams can step up. If Cody Rhodes go down, okay, we ain't been doing shit with Carmelo Hayes. He could step up, right? They're lunching on this dude called Austin Theory. Austin Theory, that dude's a star. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania 39, right?
Mhm.
I don't know whether he's being punished because he was one of Vince McMahon's boys, but Austin Theory has the body. He's got the looks. He can cut a promo. This guy LA Knight, I wasn't feeling him at first, but he's a star. He's great on the mic.
It's
They,
like the storylines that they're able to pull from, and how they
yeah,
can just switch it on a dime. Like you said, man, somebody might not be hitting, and all it takes is maybe one, two, three different threads that they follow, then bam, that dude's on
the
top.
WWE was dead as fuck a couple of years ago, right?
Mhm.
Because from 2019 to 2022, all it was AEW. Like AEW was the hot company.
Yeah.
And you know a company is hot when you get WWE 2K, the video game, and all you want to download is the AEW arena and download fucking MJF. That's how you
Mhm.
know they was hot, right?
Yeah.
But somehow AEW managed to fucking fuck up every bit of goodwill they had, right? And chase away their biggest star they ever signed, CM Punk. And so
Mm.
while all that was going on, right? While all of that turmoil was going on over in AEW with CM Punk and the fucking the elite and him arguing with the Young Bucks and all that dumb shit, WWE, which everybody was sick of, because we got tired of the same four people getting pushed: Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. We got tired of that shit. We got tired of seeing them all the time, right? So everybody tuned into AEW, and AEW got hot. But while AEW was fucking up CM Punk, something happened, and this dude named Sami Zayn tried to get into the bloodline, and it was entertaining for months, and they just got hot, right? And while they was doing that, Edge got kicked out of this group called the Judgment Day, and we saw the rise of
Yeah.
we saw the rise of this kid called Dominic Mysterio and the rise of this woman called Rhea Ripley, and they just got hot.
Yeah.
WWE just got hot. They've been on a roll ever since. They've been on a roll ever since. And so what they did was, sake of forever, is they have so many stars, right? They have so many stars that at any time they can pull from TNA. TNA basically, they might as well be owned by WWE now. They could pull from NXT. They could pull any one of these guys up to the main roster if Cody has to go, or if LA Knight has to go. They could pull. I never seen anything like it. They are hotter now, and somebody's going to tell me, you're out of your fucking mind. I think the company's in a better position now than they were during the Ruthless Aggression era or the Attitude era, because they have so many stars they could pull from at any time, and it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. Wrestling is red hot now. I'm enjoying it, man. Um,
Dude, they're
Gaming
getting
is,
that. They're getting that Saudi money too, man. They're big ticket.
yeah, yeah. You know what? And I still have a problem with that, but like from a business standpoint, I understand the Saudi money. I know fans hate it, but I understand the advertisements all around the ring and on the mat, the wrestling mat. Oh, I don't believe they got advertisements on the mat. Well, down in Mexico, they've been selling advertisement for years, for decades. WWE only just AEW's been selling advertisement for years. DraftKings and so forth. So WWE is late to the damn party, man.
No,
They're
they're
late.
very good. And there's so many. Dude, they got SeaWorld, Disney. I saw that, dude. That's what happened to Embracer, man. That deal fell through. That Saudi prince was
Yeah.
going to float them to 2 billion, man, and they overextended themselves, and that deal fell through. That's why they ended up collapsing like they did.
Do you
It's
know that? Do you know
Oh,
the WWE? Do you know the WWE don't call the advertisers? The advertisers call them.
yeah.
Do you know that it used to be a time that WWE used to go around and call cities and say, "Hey, we'd like to have WrestleMania be in Philadelphia." No, 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 no. The cities are now they get in line and they have a lottery to see which city's going to go, which city's going to get WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and the city has to pay like $7 million or some shit like that. So like WWE is so hot, they got people paying them for WrestleMania. Yo, the shit is crazy, dude. I'm a fan of business, and I'm a fan of well-run business. And WWE, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Xbox, and Microsoft are well-run businesses. You can hate them all day if you want, but you can't. Look, man, the winners never worry about the losers. And
No.
and Sega Forever, you are not going to believe this, but yes, this is your boy E-Rock X talking. Hold on to your hats. But because what I'm about to say is going to fuck you up, dude. But you know who I still hate him, but you know who I begrudgingly respect now? Disney. And I'll tell
Oh
you.
man, dude, what? We got this on the tape. This on the internet, man. This forever.
I'll tell you why. Disney sucks. I fucking hate them. But you got to give it up to these motherfuckers, man. You got to give it up to them. They don't just release 1, 2, or 3 movies a year, Sega Forever. They release 9, 10, and 11, 25 movies a year. Look. And the big news was Snow White bombing at the box office, right?
Mhm.
We all know what happened. The damn actress Rachel Zellweger opened her mouth and she self-destructed. She torpedoed the goddamn movie by running her mouth, right? It didn't matter because Disney had Thunderbolts coming out, right?
Mhm.
And it didn't matter if Thunderbolts didn't do great because they had Lilo and Stitch coming out, right? And I said it when I said these motherfuckers. I said these motherfuckers. That goddamn Lilo and Stitch gonna make $1 billion. $1 billion. Sega Forever. What happened, bro? What happened? That shit made $1 billion. While Warner Brothers, that's a whole different subject. Warner Brothers was patting themselves on the back for Minecraft making 980 million or whatever. I said, yo, watch Lilo and Stitch, man. That shit gonna make $1 billion. But they not done. They got Fantastic Four coming out, right?
Mhm.
And Lord knows what else. They listen. Disney got so much shit coming out that nobody even noticed that a Pixar movie came out, bombed, and disappeared called Elio. Yo, man, I hate to admit it, man, but Disney, I don't know where they're getting the money from, but they are forced to be reckoned with, bro.
You know, it's all their brand, dude. I hate to say this, man, but Disney is similar to Sony. They have look. I'm a Disney fan myself, dude, and I'm gonna
Me
say
too.
that
Oh,
brand is
classic
strong.
Disney.
Yeah,
Yeah, their
and that's all they have
brand
to
is
do. Dude. They just have to release like they could be jacking stuff up, and they'd be like, oh, here's a classic Mickey Mouse, and people be like, oh, all right, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
the brand is strong because of the very things I complained about. Them being greedy, them being unscrupulous, them sticking it to fucking Warner Brothers. But look, Warner Brothers right now is ran by fucking idiots, morons. So Warner Brothers deserves to be right where the fuck they're at right now.
how you
Warner Brothers.
feeling? How you feeling about Superman, bro?
Oh God.
You're gonna go watch it, though, right?
I'm gonna wait for it to come on streaming. I'm gonna
Okay,
be honest with you. I'm waiting for. I'm not excited about it.
yeah,
I'm not excited about it. I can't invest in Warner Brothers as a company anymore. And keep in mind that
yeah.
Warner Brothers is one of my favorite companies of all time. This new dude, David Zaslav, has just done too much shit to say fuck the fans of not just DC but of Warner Brothers. I mean, let's go over all of the dumb shit he did. Um, they're not going to continue the Fantastic Beasts series, which is people out there that wanted to see that story of Dumbledore and his battle with the Wizard Grindelwald from the Harry Potter universe. We wanted to see that shit play out. Okay, so okay, you lost money on it. Disney loses money on shit all the time. Disney, I think out of the 30, out of the 36 movies that the MCU made, only, and I maintain this to this day, only 8 of them are any good. The MCU has lost more fucking money on putting out shitty Marvel movies than DC has ever lost putting out a few crappy DCEU movies. Like there was bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb, but Disney doesn't look and say, well, Eternals didn't work out. We got to reboot. No, they just listen. You may be sick of the MCU, but they're not stopping. They didn't drag out the corpse of Robert Downey Jr. to play fucking Doctor Doom, if that makes any fucking sense, right? It is what it is, man. It is winners.
You know what, dude? I remember when they did that announcement. I'm just gonna be honest. It just made us all feel good, right? Because there's that nostalgia dip. But I say right after Comic Con was done, like that Monday when people came to reality, they was like, all right, what are they doing?
Yeah, because it's not Doctor Doom. But then again, I don't think it matters to Disney at this point because half the fans of the MCU, 90% of them don't even read the comic books, so they don't know that Doctor Doom is supposed to be from like this foreign country called Latveria, and he's supposed to speak a fucking foreign language. They don't fucking know. They still believe that Tony Stark is the creator of fucking Ultron, when that is not the case, right? But anyway, I can't get behind Warner Brothers and all their dumb decisions. They're not going to continue Fantastic Beasts, but they're doing a Harry Potter TV series, and I'm like, okay, you are trying to recast one of the greatest cast of British actors in fucking acting history. You caught lightning in a bottle and had 7 perfect movies with the greatest cast ever. And so the tagline was, yes, but this series will be different. Each Harry Potter series in this series will be more like the books. And we're going to stay 100% to the books. And right away, you cast Snape as a black person. Severus Snape, who in the books is described as a dark-haired, sallow white man with milky skin. So we knew what this bullshit was from the gate. Warner Brothers canceled the DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, which should have been an easy layup. An easy layup, right? In basketball, in basketball, a layup is like the easiest shot you could take, supposedly, right? So they canceled Hogwarts Legacy fucking DLC. That would have made them millions of fucking dollars. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Oh, I got to answer this. Vontae says that they didn't fuck up the goodwill. CM Punk acted like he was above the program. He wasn't, so he got fired. And it was really that simple. Now I have to disagree with you on this, Vontae. I will explain to you what happened because I followed this like holy writ. Because I follow businesses, and I love to see how businesses fuck up when they have a good thing going. CM Punk, right? Phil Brooks was retired. He was done with wrestling. He was never coming the fuck back, right? People were trying to get him back from other companies. He was not coming back, right? So Tony Khan had talked to him because he was backstage at a few events and said, listen, man, if you come back, you could really help us sell merchandise. You could really help us sell this brand. I want to sell T-shirts. I want to do advertising. I want to make this brand as big or bigger than WWE. That's the bill of goods, Vontae, that CM Punk was sold on, right? So CM Punk went there August or September 2021, right? We were all there. We all saw it. It was an emotional moment. People were in tears when CM Punk returned that night to wrestling for the first time in 7 years, only this time in AEW. And somewhere in WWE headquarters, a cold shiver went down their spine because at that night, AEW officially became competition for WWE. It was over. It was done. And CM Punk went there, and what did he do? The first person he wanted to work with wasn't Chris Jericho. It wasn't Cody Rhodes. It wasn't Kenny Omega. He wanted to work with Darby Allin, a nobody. a guy in the mid card, but because he wanted to elevate Darby Allin, and he did. He gave advice to Powerhouse Hobbs. He gave advice to Jade Cargill. He kept an open ear for anybody backstage who wanted to listen, except there were three guys there who didn't want to listen to Arn Anderson. There was three guys there who didn't want to listen to Jerry Lynn. There were three guys there who didn't want to listen to Tully Blanchard or anybody who had any experience. And those three guys are Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, and Hangman Adam Page. Why? Because we're big independent stars. We know what we're doing. We've learned all we need to learn about wrestling, which is not real. It's a television show. And there's nothing you can teach us about television, CM Punk. So CM Punk said, okay, fine, whatever, right? Whatever. Eventually, when you have two ideologies like that, they're going to butt heads, Sega Forever. They're going to get butt heads. Now, Vontae, you may not want to hear this, but here are the facts. When CM Punk joined AEW, ratings went up. When CM Punk joined AEW, merchandise sales went up. When CM Punk joined AEW, pay-per-view buys went up. Because as you know in pro wrestling, the money trickles down. If you got one guy who's a draw, everybody on the card makes money. That's why Vince McMahon didn't want to let Hulk Hogan go for so long, right? And when Ted DiBiase talks his shit about the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, he's a piece of shit because Ted DiBiase certainly enjoyed those big checks he made with Ultimate Warrior, who couldn't wrestle supposedly, and Hulk Hogan. You always need a star to draw, right? And AEW never had anybody, not Chris Jericho, not even Cody, because Cody Rhodes, ironically, the biggest star in the world right now, wasn't a draw in AEW because they weren't pushing him like he was a draw. They weren't pushing him like he was a draw. So CM Punk went there with one thing on his mind, to make AEW the brand, to sell pay-per-views, to get ratings, to help Tony Khan and Shad Khan make this company on par with WWE. But there were three dudes who were not having it, the Elite. Why? Why in the hell should Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson and Hangman Adam Page let somebody else from the outside come in and make their company better when it's their company? We should be the top guys. We should be the top draws. Well, are you guys drawing any money? Are you guys drawing any merchandise? Are any Young Bucks t-shirts selling? Can you guys sell out all in or double or nothing? No. CM Punk was selling out the tickets, right? And you see now what happened, Vontae, when CM Punk left. We're now a year and a half removed from CM Punk leaving AEW, and they went from now Sega Forever. Do you watch wrestling or you just watch it casually?
No, dude, I'm not hardcore like I used to be, bro. I'm casual.
AEW went from selling out 20,000 seat arenas, 18,000 seat arenas, and 19,000 seat arenas to now they're in 5,000 seat arenas, 3,000 seat arenas. One night they were in Atlantic City. I didn't even know that Atlantic City had another section inside their Boardwalk Hall. Boardwalk Hall is where they had WrestleMania 4. I didn't know there was a theater in Boardwalk Hall that seats 1,200. AEW were in Atlantic City in front of 1,200 people. I shit you not. So ever since CM Punk left, AEW has been in the toilet ratings and in pay-per-view buys. They sell out when they go overseas because wrestling is hot over in London, England. But they have been doing bad since CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jade Cargill left. They fucked up the goodwill, bro. They fucked up the goodwill. They did it, and they've got nobody to blame but the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page. And Tony Khan let this shit happen because he's not a leader and he's not in control of his company or his talent. Listen, man, these are just the facts. I want AEW to do as good as the next person, but like, you don't chase away your Hulk Hogan. You don't chase away your CM Punk. You don't chase away your Cody Rhodes or your Brock Lesnar. And the reason why you don't do this, Sega Forever, because wrestling is a star-driven business. We come to see the stars. We do not come to see these little Mexican wrestlers that nobody heard of. So yes, when CM Punk went on this podcast with this guy named Ariel Helwani and said, I don't know what AEW is. I can't tell you what AEW is. I don't know what they're in business for. It's not a business predicated on making money, selling merchandise, selling tickets. Maybe it's a business meant on having dream matches. That's what it is. It's dream matches. But they're not here to make money, and it's not what I was sold on. Now, Jay Cargill corroborates this story. Cody Rhodes corroborates this story, but it's only but so much he can say because Nick and Matt Jackson are his friends. Everybody corroborates this story. And I'm still waiting for this guy named William Regal, who left AEW, to finally talk. I don't know what's taking him so long to fucking spill his beans, but everybody says the same shit. When CM Punk got over there, certain people in the locker room resented him being there because he was a fucking star and he drew money, which to me is the craziest thing ever, because that'd be like me running the business and they'd be like, yo, man, Sega Forever's coming over. He's going to help us make money. Well, I don't want him here. I want to be the star. No, motherfucker, Sega Forever's the star. Let him come here and draw money so that you and your family can eat. Yo, man, it's the craziest shit. The reason why everybody was with the program from 1984 to 1990 with Hulk Hogan, the reason why everybody's with the program, the Honky Tonk Man let this shit spill about 10 years ago. It was dudes over there making $15,000 a week, Sega Forever.
Yeah.
A week. It was some dudes making $5,000 a night. It was some dudes making $7,000 a night working with Hulk Hogan. So they might have hated Hulk Hogan, but they said, man, I better shut the fuck up. My wife need a new Cadillac and a new kitchen. So
it's funny that you say that, because I've been watching WNBA, and they got that girl Caitlin Clark. And the thing that blows my mind, I mean, like Larry Bird. When Larry Bird came into the league, there's a lot of people that didn't like him. But
Larry Bird was the man.
He was the man, but people like personals and people got egos. But for some reason, man, people nowadays do that ego override their pocketbook.
Yes. Get it. Larry Bird sold tickets for the Boston Celtics, just like Jordan did for the Chicago Bulls, just like fucking Magic Johnson did for the Lakers. It is what it is, man. Entertainment is a star-driven business. Right now, TNA is hot because they have a viral star down there named Joe Hendry. I don't know how this guy got popular. He just is.
That's weird about wrestling, bro. You never know. There's some dude you might think he's goofy as hell, and then all of a sudden, dude, he main card, dude.
One word for you, Mr. Iguana. Where the fuck did this guy come from? Who is he? But he's red hot. He's red hot. His t-shirt was in the top 10 seller in WWE merchandise. Yo, man, it is what it is. This is a star-driven business. So you would think,
man, because when we was growing up, Iraq, we had to follow this stuff hardcore. And it was funny, man, because I remember, man, there's some people that these people have pedigree when it comes to wrestling, like either through their family, but they have the bona fides, man. These guys know what they're doing. But to become popular, man, they have to be kind of like either funny or a clown, or they have to find their gimmick, right? And I remember that dude. I remember this dude that came from All Japan Pro Wrestling, man, Masahiro Chono. And in Japan,
Chono,
that dude's a man in Japan. But when he came over, dude, he kind of had to play kind of like this funny character, kind of like this, like Iron Mike Sharp back in the day.
Yeah.
Iron Mike Sharp was nobody you wanted to mess with, right? But he kind of played that role, dude. He kind of played like that, like not goofy, but he'd yell at the crowd would boo him and stuff like that. And so for me, sometimes when I, that part of wrestling, I remember vividly. Nowadays, it doesn't seem like that, dude. I don't know what it is.
Chono was badass when he was with the NWO. Remember, he was with the NWO for a minute.
Yeah.
Dude would come out with a long black coat and the fucking glasses and shit. All those Japanese wrestlers have this fucking cool ass aura about them. Like they're like Yakuza members and shit. They're all cool as shit, man.
Yeah, like in Japan, he was like, they kind of made him like a mafia, right? You know what I'm saying? But when he was here, dude, he wasn't like, I know he didn't get the pull, but I remember, dude, he was wrestling. I want to say it's Scott Steiner. Like he was wrestling Scott Steiner, and then he was kind of playing that role, right, where he's like looking at the crowd and stuff like that. And there's one moment in the match, and I think they wrote this in, like, okay, I'll play the heel, right? But you got to give me something. And there's this one part of the match where he does his move, and I think it was Scott, dude, and he puts him against the rope, and he does that loaded boot that he does, that step forward kick, dude, and he caught Steiner, dude, and it flipped him in the air, and the whole crowd went quiet, right? And he kind of just stood there, and I was looking at him. I was like, dude, you guys better recognize. I know you guys don't know who I am, but you better recognize. And then you know what he does? He goes to the rope and he goes, "Whoa!" like an idiot, right? But that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of wrestling I'm used to from back in the day.
Oh yeah, man.
Look at Prime, bro. So, hey, number one, thanks, Prime. Versus Sega, always the star. Appreciate it, brother.
I just got it. I just got into New Japan the last couple of years, man. New Japan is awesome. They kind of got gutted by AEW. Like AEW just gutted all their damn talent. But I mean, it is what it is, man. You know, shit happens. But
I keep over wrestling, brother, but I'm not like hardcore like I used to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can't really speak on a lot of it.
Well, you know what? Like I said, I didn't watch wrestling. I stopped watching wrestling from like 2012 to like 2000. Like I missed the whole CM Punk era the first time around. I missed the whole AJ Lee Page. I missed all of that shit. Because let's be honest, like WWE was just damn awful for a long while when I stopped watching it. I only just recently got back into wrestling. I'll say around 2018. Really around the time that AEW started up, I just got back into it and started watching New Japan and started watching the stuff over in Mexico. Well, I always watched Mexican wrestling, but I just been following it and just seeing where it's going and where entertainment is heading. And it's all good, man. But I would tell Vontae, I'm not trying to say that the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page are the bad guys. I'm just saying that I don't understand why you would sabotage your company. I don't understand why. And then lie and try to say that CM Punk was like the locker room cancer when we know he's not. When everybody that's ever been around Punk said CM Punk's a nice guy. He used to buy all the girls fucking Starbucks coffee and shit. And like he was giving advice to everybody. Like when they said that CM Punk was a locker room cancer, their story made no fucking sense. When they said that shit back in 2022 or whenever the fuck it was, 23, their story made no fucking sense, right? And then fucking what's that kid name? The kid that was Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, who's the son of Luke Perry from 90210. He exposed just how silly they were backstage. This motherfucker wants to hijack a pay-per-view and say some dumb shit on live TV. They don't understand this business. And the reason why WWE is so successful right now is because it's a team effort over there. There is no CM Punk without Cody Rhodes. There is no Cody Rhodes without Jey Uso. There's no Jey Uso without fuck is his name? LA Knight. There's no LA Knight without Jacob Fatu. There is no Jacob Fatu without Solo Sikoa. What it is it's a team, and people don't buy tickets to see CM Punk. They buy tickets for the brand. They go to see WWE. That says a lot. Yeah. That says that Triple H has been doing something right. When these motherfuckers come to see the brand. Listen. Here's how I knew WWE was on fire and can't nobody fuck with them. Every time they do WrestleMania, they take over your whole city, right? So when they came to Philly to do WrestleMania 40, which I'm particularly proud of, because WrestleMania 40 was a banger. They sold out the basketball stadium on Friday. They sold out the basketball stadium again on Saturday. They sold out WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, and then they sold out Monday Night Raw in the basketball stadium in Philly on Monday. So that was 1, 2, 3. That was 4 nights of sellouts. I said, God damn, either these wrestling fans got a lot of money or WWF is hot. Because I couldn't afford to go to WrestleMania. I watched that shit from home. I couldn't afford no $200 to sit up in the nosebleed seats at Lincoln Financial Field. Fuck that shit. But
I think that's smart though. Like they get it right. Like they looking at us like we're a brand, and this is what we're gonna charge.
Yes, yeah. So if CM Punk leaves, they're not hurt. If Cody Rhodes leaves, they're a little hurt. But we got another dude waiting in the wings. That's crazy. Okay, if this dude leaves, we've been grooming this dude named Jacob Fatu for months now, for years now. Yo, that's crazy. And Dominic Mysterio, he's a major star waiting to break out. Like the fans used to boo the shit out of him. Now they want to cheer him. That's fucking crazy to me that you got an army of stars and AEW is still trying to figure this shit out. And they trying
Roman Reigns, man. They were trying to push him for the longest time. And all
they,
it
they
takes is just that one little ingredient that's missing, and then it
that
clicks, dude, and they did the whole tribal thing,
and that one little ingredient was Sami Zayn, right?
yeah, Sami
'Cause
Zayn.
remember when the bloodline shit started, it started with Roman Reigns beating up his cousins, right?
Yeah,
And then he had beat this dude named Braun Strowman, and that basically killed his fucking run. Um, he had somehow survived Brock Lesnar. I didn't care about any of that shit. I was tired of seeing Roman Reigns. I thought he was corny. His character was dry as shit. Yeah, I understand
oh,
he
dude,
came back
that,
from.
that was. I'll say this, bro. Just the only reason I know about them, dude, is because they're Polynesian, right? So I
Yeah,
live in
they're
Hawaii,
awesome.
dude. People have like a lot of connection to their families because the High Chief Peter Maivia used to bring wrestling here all the time when I was little.
Oh yeah. High Chief Peter Murphy, he was the man.
Yeah, so that family been the Wild Samoans, all those dudes. So
The
there's a
dude,
connection here.
the
So
dude that the
oh, go ahead.
dude that the dude that made that bloodline story interesting was the most least likeliest character. This dude named Sami Zayn, who
Mhm.
looks like he's homeless. When he kept trying to join the bloodline, and Roman Reigns stopped being a tough guy and let down his guard and started laughing, that's when everybody was on board. Like wrestling is entertainment. It's a television show. It's supposed to be it ain't about jumping around and kicks and flips. It's about entertainment. And WWE figured that shit out. Oh, I never finished on Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Warner Brothers has done everything to shoot themselves in the foot. They've canceled projects. They canceled the Batgirl movie. They could have went to streaming. They released shit in theaters that should have went to streaming, like Shazam 2 and Blue Beetle. They didn't put enough marketing behind The Flash, which is actually a good movie, but they put all the marketing in the world behind Barbie. They wouldn't release Hogwarts Legacy DLC. Um, they cut the Warner Brothers gaming division in half. They did something that did shock us. They are coming out with a Mortal Kombat collection. Shockingly, thank God. It took them like 100 fucking years. We haven't had a Mortal Kombat collection since Xbox 360. Um, their most egregious act was letting go of Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck, three of the most beloved actors in the history of fucking DC since Christopher Reeve and Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. You let go the coolest Batman you ever had. You let go the really one of the best Wonder Womans ever, right? I
Mhm.
I have a lot of respect for the original Wonder Woman, but the truth is, I grew up in the 70s. A lot of y'all motherfuckers didn't. That Wonder Woman show was silly as fuck. Okay, it was.
Yeah.
The only thing that got it by was that Linda Carter was gorgeous as hell. But Gal Gadot, if anybody saw the Wonder Woman movie, that's one of the best superhero movies ever made, just like Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. The DCEU was profitable under Zack Snyder. When they let him go after his daughter died, that's when the movie started tanking. That's when the movie started tanking. We now have evidence. Say that we now know the numbers. We now know the numbers, right? The DCEU started tanking when Zack Snyder was no longer involved with it. So they rebooted the DCEU, right? Which it didn't need to be rebooted. It needed to be tweaked. So now we're supposed to all, after 12 years of supporting the DCEU, we're supposed to get on board with this new fucking version of it. I can't do it. Now I will give James Gunn credit. I kind of liked the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker was great, and he did this cartoon on Max called Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos was pretty goddamn good. It really was. Creature Commandos was good
Yeah,
because
you know what?
James.
Bro? That's his wheelhouse, brother. I mean, but the only look, I know this sounds weird coming from me as a Marvel guy. I wanted him to do the cosmic Marvel universe. I wouldn't want him to take over all the Marvel universe. So the stuff that he did when he went into DC, dude, I don't know if he can pull off these Superman. I'm
I don't know if he
hoping he
can
can,
either.
but I don't think he's the person you go with to do the entire DC universe. He's the guy that does those shows that you just talked about. Yeah,
Uh
yeah, but not Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I
huh.
I don't
Here,
see.
here, there's some weird shit going on right now. Because you asked me about the Superman movie, and I want to give you an honest answer.
Yeah,
There's some weird shit going on right now where the Snyderverse fans they're not attacking the new movie. It's people attacking them. People, people have this thing called Unlimited Production calls it recency bias. They're in love with the recent shit, and they forget how awesome the older shit was. Which is why I watch a lot of these videos on YouTube where it's these movie reactors, and a lot of these reactors are younger than us, so they've
Yeah.
never seen the DCEU, right?
Yeah. I do the same thing.
All, all they've heard was that the DCEU sucked, and that's why it failed. So they're seeing the DC it failed because Warner Brothers was idiots, and it didn't fail. The DCEU made something like $6 or $7 billion or some shit like that. So it was very profitable for Warner Brothers. So all these reactors are now discovering Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman, and they're like, "Yo, this shit's fucking awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, no kidding." Me and Unlimited Production, we've been telling y'all for like fucking 10 years, shit was awesome, but whatever. So, you know, the crazy thing is like everybody's like they're cucking this new Superman. Like, oh man, he's hopeful and he's bright and cheerful and he's hopeful and he saves people. And I'm like, tell me you didn't watch Man of Steel or BVS without telling me you didn't watch those movies. Because Henry Cavill did all the same shit. He saved people. He was hopeful. Y'all just choose not to fucking watch it. So my first problem with this new Superman, Sega Forever, is that Zack Snyder believed in this shit called show and don't tell. And I believe in it too. Show and don't tell, meaning show us, don't tell us. This new Superman, David Cornsweet, he seems like a nice fucking guy. He's going out of his way every 5 minutes to be like, I'm here to save people. I'm here to help. I'm a nice guy. Well, I was brought here to help people. But people were going to die. I'm here to help people. He's whining the whole fucking movie about how he's here to help people. And Superman doesn't do that. Superman is a stoic character. Well, Zack Snyder made Superman into a god. Well, he is a god. You're not going to sit out and have beers with Superman. You're not going to sit out and fucking and shoot the shit with Kal-El. That's why the old saying was, this is a job for Superman. If you ever seen any of the original Superman movies by the actor named Christopher Reeve, he was very stoic. He showed, but he never told. He never told you he was here to save people, to be a good guy. He had that one throwaway line, I'm here for truth, justice, and the American way. And that was it. Christian Bale, he showed but never told, right? Henry Cavill, he was stoic. He showed but he never told. They are so busy, James Gunn and Warner Brothers, trying to not be Zack Snyder, that it's sticking out like a fucking sore thumb. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens because you can't predict box office. You never know what's going to happen. Nobody thought that Megan 2.0 was going to fail at the box office, but a lot of that has to do with it being released in fucking June instead of being released in January like it should have. But I got this saying I've had for 8 years now. You can't predict box office, man. So Warner Brothers is in a situation where if this movie doesn't make $1 billion, they're in trouble, Sega Forever. They're in trouble because they don't have that blanket that Disney has.
Yeah, I know that. All I know is, dude, if you look at a character like Star-Lord, and if you read the comic books like I did back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably can't go with that stuff. In fact, I bought a serial collection of all the other comic books.
Okay.
Especially of the 70s.
Right.
But the way James Gunn does his main character, like Star-Lord, dude, and when I thought he was gonna get DC and then bring somebody in to do Superman. That's what I thought was gonna happen.
I didn't know
he was gonna be the
he
one
was gonna do this shit. Yeah.
I thought, because he doesn't. To me, he doesn't. Superman is a main character. He's not the side character.
No.
Like the thing that made Guardians of the Galaxy so well done is because you have a flawed leader or a flawed main character, but he does a good job. That's why he's good at Suicide Squad. He does a good job of rounding out the team.
Yes.
The character as well.
Yes.
So you got a lot of stuff hitting you at the same time. That's his, ping, pang, pang. That's his style. But Superman is Superman. Superman is the main character. He's always going to be the main character. No matter, dude, if Superman went into Marvel, he'd be the main character. If Superman went into any other comic book company, he's always going to be the main. He is the main character. Like he's the Zeus that sits on top of Olympus.
Yeah.
So you need somebody that can tell that story of who he is, right? And when I saw that, and I like James Gunn. Don't get me wrong, man. He's done some of my most favorite movies. But At the end of the day, I'm like, bro, I don't see. It's just like Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer was good on X-Men when it was the brooding, X-Men that but then when they tried to do that shift and trying to break and trying to make X-Men a little bit more marketable, and then Bryan Singer was doing it, it didn't work out, man, because he
He
does
did. He did the thing about the X-Men franchise is I never liked the first three X-Men from the 2000s. I just thought they were too bland. I loved X-Men First Class, but that was because it was directed by this cool ass British director named Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah, and
And
he's the
and
one that
Matt,
flipped it. He's the one that was able to flip it. And then the next thing they should have did, because they were going to do Apocalypse and all that other stuff, is basically like Giant Size X-Men #1. Like the
mhm.
old guard couldn't do X-Men. Giant Size X-Men happened, and they brought in Chris Claremont, right?
but
And then he came in and took it over, and then he was able to take it to that next level. But they
but
went
here's the
back to
thing.
Bryan Singer. So
But the thing about Bryan Singer is we know what this dude can do because he did after X-Men First Class, he did X-Men Days of Future Past, and that shit is banging. That's a banger. Days of Future Past, that's a goddamn banger, man. Like those first two X-Men movies of the new generation, those shits was bangers. But like he did.
so Days of Future Past is more of a darker storyline, right? Even
Yes.
so, it has anytime it has to do with like if it's ultra focused on characters, and that's what X Men is, right? There's pockets in X Men where it's more story focused, more character driven, more world building, all that stuff, right? And so yeah, X Men Days of Future Past is more of a darker timeline. Then they went into Apocalypse, right? No, which one did they do after that?
It was you're right. It was X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, and so he should have stepped away from Apocalypse and like how you said, X Men First Class. X Men First Class, dude. There was a lot of stuff going on with that movie that I didn't expect. Like you said, Matthew Vaughn, and I forgot what other movie he did right before that. That was pretty awesome.
Matthew Vaughn.
Did
He
he do
did
Bond? Did
he
he do Bond? No.
no. He did a British Crown drama called Layer Cake, right? And
Yeah,
Layer
that's
Cake is and Layer Cake is how the world got introduced to Daniel Craig, who became
yes.
Bond. But
Yep.
Matthew Vaughn also did the Kingsman movies,
The King.
Kingsman: The Secret Service. Matthew Vaughn knows his shit, bro. He knows his shit.
So when you see the way X Men First Class is, very different from the first three, and rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? Like with because with X3, that X3 did not do well at all.
Set in the 60s. It had this cool ass vibe to it. Michael Fassbender was on his A game as Magneto. That motherfucking movie was banging, bro.
Yeah, then they brought in old boy McAvoy, right, to play the younger.
James McAvoy to play. They bought it, motherfucking Mr. Thomas from fucking Narnia to be Professor X, and he nailed it.
And that only happens if you have somebody with that kind of vision. So
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
long story short, dude, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about Superman.
No, no. The thing about Superman is like Bryan Singer. What killed? I'm not going to say the Superman Returns was bad. It just wasn't a great Superman movie. It had stuff in it that was good, but like from the gate, the casting was fucked up. He got somebody who was way too young to be Lois Lane. Um, Superman, in that movie. First of all, again, I repeat, this is a job for Superman, right? And when he doesn't have something that's on his level, like a Doomsday or a Darkseid, or an evil Superman like Superman 3, or a Lex Luthor who, like, Richard Donner got away with it in 1978 because nobody had seen the character on that stage before. So he got away with pitting Superman against Lex Luthor, who basically just had a damn real estate scheme. It was going to use nuclear missiles. He
that was
got away with it.
He pulled it off, bro. He
He
pulled it off.
pulled it off. It's one of the greatest motherfucking movies of all time. But in the next movie, he knew he had to raise the stakes, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about Superman is, Vontae says a version of Superman is stoic. There are many types of Superman. That's a video comic adaptation. You are 100% correct. You are 100% correct, Vontae. These heroes are open to many different interpretations, which is why I told folks when they was tripping about Ben Affleck's Batman, oh my God, Batman doesn't kill. This ain't that Batman. This ain't that Batman. And I ain't going to keep explaining to you, this is the Batman from fucking The Dark Knight Returns. This is a Batman who's been in Gotham for 20 years waging war, and has seen due process let these criminals back out in the streets so that one of them, the Joker, could kill his Robin, Jason Todd. So after 20 years, Ben Affleck is over it. So he's branding people. He's running motherfuckers over with cars. He's killing people. And I was all in with it. I was like, yes. I would love to see Bane try to come and take over this version of Gotham. Man, Ben Affleck was that warehouse scene in Batman vs Superman is probably the greatest Batman scene ever committed to film. It was Batman from the comic. You know what that Batman is? Ben Affleck is there was this comic artist, this Asian comic artist named Jim Lee, and he drew Batman for a little bit. This Batman was this big, bulky bruiser. Like this dude you would not want to get into a fight with. That was Ben Affleck. But I'm not knocking this new Superman movie. I'm just saying that right out of the gate, it just seems cheesy. The costume looks like it's straight out of fucking Halloween Adventure. They got Lois Lane right. No offense to Amy Adams, who played Lois Lane in Zack Snyder's trilogy. She did a good job. It's just Lois Lane should not be a redhead. And yes, I'm nitpicking because Margot Kidder in 1978 left an indelible impression on that role. Lois Lane should be about 35 to 36 to 37 years old. She's an army brat. She's tough. She's not afraid of anything. And she should have black hair. And, well, they don't allow folks to smoke anymore, but she's a bit rough around the edges, but gorgeous, right? Clark Kent shouldn't be a buffoon. Hey, loser, you're a loser. He shouldn't be a fucking buffoon, right? Christopher Reeve played him as a little bit nervous, a little bit of a dork, but he didn't take it over the edge, right? He didn't go over the edge with it, right? So like it just I don't know. Hey, listen, man, the jury's still out. I could be wrong. This might be the greatest fucking movie ever. I'm just saying Superman is supposed to be stoic and he's supposed to show, not tell. Vontae says the DCEU was okay. The real problem was all the movies between Marvel and DC caused superhero fatigue. You know what? I don't think. Listen, I'm going to put it. Unlimited Production. If he was here, he put it in the best possible way that I've heard anybody put it in the last 10 years. The DCEU launched at the height of it launched at the height of the MCU dick riding. It just did. Dude, you still there, Sega Faber?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, I shit you not. I remember when Batman vs Superman was announced, right? It was announced at Comic-Con right after Man of Steel came out, right? And they showed a little clip of Batman turning on the bat signal and Superman in the sky. Motherfuckers was hating on it, right? Motherfuckers was hating on it August 2013. I swear to God. Motherfuckers was hating on the movie then. There was this journalist I knew at Facebook. He was hating on it. Oh, Ben Affleck's gonna suck, right? He ended up being an awesome Batman. I was driving this bus called the Zoo Shuttle for the Philadelphia Zoo. There was a dude in the zoo. Ben Affleck's gonna be Batman. The dude that was in Julie, oh, it's gonna suck. Dude, they were hating on Batman versus Superman 3 years before it even came out, right? So that hate train carried right over to when the movie fucking launched, right? And me and a buddy of mine, a tour guide I used to work with, we went to go see the movie, the theatrical version, right? And we were like, that was fucking awesome. Turns out the fucking extended version was even better. But the DCEU's biggest problem was everybody wanted it to be Marvel.
Okay, I want to say something here. I hope they don't take my card, but I'm just going to be honest, dude. The Marvel fans, and I'm talking about the cinematic universe fans, dude, they're worse than Sony fans.
They're the worst. Whoa. Worse than Sony fans?
Dude, I sat there and I would try and talk to these people. And if I offer something and of course I had to check myself because I'm a comic book fan of Marvel.
Yeah, you're a comic book fan first. We all are.
So when I would talk to them about something, right, they would automatically like just attack.
Oh yeah. To
the point where I was like, you know what, dude, this ain't even worth it.
It's not.
And I'm taking and I'm coming from a different perspective because I'm a dad now. And I was taking my kids, they were younger, they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it with them.
Yeah.
Right. But if my son leaned over and goes, Dad, is that? And I'm like, no. So I get it, dude. And what happened was, and Devontae I'm just putting it all out there right there. What ended up happening is a lot of people, because a lot of you guys don't remember, man, Hollywood hated these movies. It
Yeah.
wasn't until Avengers hit big. No, it wasn't until the Winter Soldier. Avengers hit big, so they couldn't ignore it. Then Winter Soldier, that's when you saw people started to change, and you see the audience starting to grow, and then people started jumping on the bandwagon. Then the media had to go along with it as well, right? So that's, but everybody was expecting this stuff to fail, and they hated comic book. They were forced. They were forced to. In fact, I remember, man, they did this skit at the Oscars to make fun of the superhero, one of the Marvel movies, or said something negative, dude, and everybody was on their ass on Monday.
The shit was so crazy because you had influencers in on it. You
Yeah.
had the rise of influencers like Grace Randolph
No,
from
Collider, bro. I know. Remember, we talked about Collider video. Collider,
Collider, all of them. They're like Unlimited Production said, this was at the height of the Marvel dick riding. It was so crazy that Saturday Night Live did a skit, right? And the skit was called Marvel Can't Lose, right? So what the skit was like Marvel was putting out anything. A movie called Happy Ghost. Marvel was putting out any fucking thing. A dog being walked down the street, and it would be a hit, right? What they were making fun of was like this is crazy that everybody is dick riding these fucking movies, right? And like I said, I maintain the last great Marvel movie was Guardians of the Galaxy. It was Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now you can sit and debate the quality of Black Panther all day. You can sit and debate the quality of Avengers Infinity War, which my friend dragged me to go see because I tapped out on the MCU after Avengers Age of Ultron. I was so insulted by that movie and Iron Man 3 that my girlfriend drove me out to go see Iron Man 3. I was so insulted by them two movies that I said, listen, if you're not going to take this shit seriously, I'm not going to take it the fuck seriously, right?
Here's something funny, you're out, because I took my kids are all into it right now. And I was into it too.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna lie. And I remember to take it to me. And I remember my son goes, Dad, did you like the movie? I was like, you know what? This is always my answer. But I'm gonna be 100% with my kids, right? I was like, you know what? It could have been bad, but they actually pulled it off. It could have been a horrible thing, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
And that's just because of my history. I have a lot of baggage, and I know that when it comes to these.
Vontae, what you mean unpopular? Ben Affleck was awesome. Matter of fact, like I said, I watch all these reactors now reacting to the DCEU.
Vontae's saying very unpopular, but I liked Ben Affleck.
I'm backing him up though. I'm saying, I'm saying, my nigga, speak your truth. Ben Affleck was the shit as Batman. Like,
the only problem with him is that a lot of people don't notice about Ben Affleck, dude. He's like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5".
He was perfect. He was perfectly cast because I very much enjoy Christian Bale. I very much enjoy Christopher Nolan's trilogy is the high point of any fucking franchise anywhere, right? That's the high point. It's Christopher Nolan's shit. But honestly, Christian Bale was a little bit light, a little bit of a lightweight to be playing Batman. They all were. Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer. You know, there's this one scene in Batman Forever, which I love. I don't care. I love the 90s Batman movies. Yeah, and Robin wants to go back out and, you know, be doing that vigilante shit. And Val Kilmer stands up and is like, Robin says, well, I'm going to go back out, Bruce. Whenever Batman goes out, Robin will be there. You can't stop me. And so Val Kilmer sits up and says, I can stop you. And this motherfucker is as skinny as a string bean, right? So it's like, now, did you see Ben Affleck when he was training and getting ready to kick Superman's ass? That's a dude you don't want to fuck with. That is a dude you don't want to fuck with, man. Like, if Ben Affleck says I can stop you, I'm like, all right, dude, me and you, we don't have no beef, bro. It's all good. But Ben Affleck did the damn thing. Henry Cavill looked like he stepped right out of a goddamn comic book.
Dude, he looked like they put that work in. And it's funny, dude. Of everybody on that cast, the only person that complained was Jason Momoa because he hates working out. He says, I only work out if you'll pay me. And that's why he worked out.
Yo, man, everybody was perfectly cast. But you know, it is what it is, man. So here we are. It's 2020 fucking 5. The MCU is dragging on when somebody should have, like, you know how, like, when a horse has a bad leg, you take the horse out back and shoot it and put it out of his misery. The MCU should have got put out of his misery a long time ago. Even though Fantastic Four looks interesting, It looks interesting because it's set in the '60s. So I mean, we'll see.
I have no hope for that movie either.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I love Pedro Pascal as much as the next guy, but goddamn, can we get somebody else to be in a fucking movie?
Yeah.
Are there any more actors on? Where the hell is Timothy Chalamet at? Is there anybody else we can get for these movies? Yo, he the man is like in 25 movies, dude.
Everybody wanted that one dude, man, and he was in the Doctor Strange movie and they ended up killing him. But that's who everybody wanted to be. Reed Richards, the one that's married to that British actress.
Okay.
He was from The Office. I can't remember his name right now.
Oh wow! Pedro Pascal's in too much shit, man, and they completely forgot about Jonathan Majors. They act like that dude was never even alive. God damn.
Well, I feel bad for him, man, because accusations were thrown, and you know, like this is where Marvel. That's why I can't stand Marvel too, man. They get exposed because they're over there like, yeah, we believe in this, we believe in that. Dude, all it took is like an accusation, and they threw this dude under the bus.
Do you
You guys
exactly
are like con around this man, and all of a sudden you guys do that? That's why
do you remember all the talk from 2012 to 2019 that, oh well, you know, the reason why Marvel's so successful is that they have a plan and DC didn't. Like DC had a plan. You always have plans, and sometimes plans go awry. But I had always said that Marvel never had a fucking plan. Kevin Feige is a hack who wrote the coattails of those good directors who directed Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Captain America, the First Avenger, which I love, by director Joe Johnson. He wrote the coattails of all of them dudes, right? Mm-hmm. He wrote the coattails of fucking Josh Whedon, who apparently got lucky with the First Avengers. He wrote the coattails and came up with Marvel Phase 2, 3, 4, 5. What are you on, Marvel Phase fucking 20 now and shit, right? So I always said this guy was a hack, and he didn't have a plan. I said that Kevin Feige was taking shit, throwing it on the wall and see what stuck, right? Well, you don't know what you're talking about, DC fanboy. You're just a hater. Well, here's the proof. The entire MCU Phase 5 was going to be based around Kang and Jonathan Majors, right? Mm-hmm. Well, some white woman told the world that Jonathan Majors punched her in the gut and kicked her in her fucking prostate. And so, like you said, they threw Jonathan Majors to the curb, right? And now the Phase 5 is going to be based around Doctor Doom. So in some businesses, you call that a pivot. I call that y'all niggas ain't have no plan. You ain't had no plan. Y'all never had a plan.
I don't know what happened to him, dude, because I remember he got interviewed. And I've known him for a long time, and this is before X-Men kicked off. And he get interviewed, man. He knows his stuff, dude. He knows his comic books.
Who Kevin Feige?
Yeah, Kevin Feige knows his stuff.
Oh,
I think what it was, man, is that he's in Hollywood, and that just like he wants to be loved by Hollywood, dude. That's the only thing I can think of, dude. Because if it wasn't for him, because they had all these ideas with X-Men, dude, and he held his ground and he was like, no, we need to do it like this. And granted, you're right though, because Avi Arad was there. Right, so
yeah, Avi Arad has been the man behind the scenes guiding this shit since before Spider-Man. He was there for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, right? Some of the best shit they ever did. So for Kevin Feige to take all the credit, right? And I'm not knocking Kevin Feige. I'm just saying, right? Everybody was hailing him as some kind of genius. I'm like, dude,
I just don't. I can't tell you. The only thing I can think you do is he wants to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason we got Captain Marvel, the female Captain Marvel, is because DC did Wonder Woman. He always does that, dude. I don't know why. I'm like, dude, supposedly you the top dog, right? The top, like WWE don't do that. WWE don't chase after the little.
No.
No, they do their own thing. And I'm sitting there watching him. I was like, dude, you gave us a subpar, crappy Captain Marvel movie that nobody wanted. Because everybody knows who Captain Marvel really is, right?
But it made $1 billion. It made $1 billion.
And that was the beginning of their downfall. Though.
Yeah,
because a lot of people didn't like it, and so what ended up happening? It came out that and you saw him do that. Dude, you get DC did Suicide Squad, and they're like, okay, we gotta do another Guardians. Oh, James Gunn's going. Okay, we got Thunderbolts. There's no reason for Thunderbolts to exist, man. The Thunderbolts that's in that movie is not even the original team. And the sucky thing about that, because some people threw back at me like, well, because they don't have the rights. So no, they have a deal with Sony. They could get Green Goblin and all the actual original. The people that the Thunderbolts that people want to see. The Thunderbolts, the reason why the Thunderbolts existed was because the government, this is after Civil War, then the government sanctioned a superhero team made up of supervillains. Basically ripping off the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
So if you guys are into comic books, you guys know they do this all the time. Marvel, DC go back and forth, right?
But The, you know, the, you
When
know,
I was young, I was naive. I used to think these guys were creative, and then they'd be like, "Oh no, they just copied old book."
the most egregious thing of all this shit that went down. And I'm glad it's over. At least we can all move on with our fucking lives. Fuck these movies. They're all shit any fucking way.
Yeah,
But
that's the only thing, Bonte, I'll push back on with the superhero fatigue. To me, it wasn't superhero fatigue. It's like we can't tell the story fatigue. We don't know how to cast people fatigue. We writing fan fiction fatigue. That's what because the whole phases one, two, and three, all they did was copy the comic books, and I was expecting them to kind of expand a little bit. But after coming even in phase three, I was like, dude, just go back to retelling the comic books.
You know when they should have stopped. Like I was telling and I want to get back to the MCU for a second because you're not gonna believe this, but it's true. I was telling a member of the Unlimited Truth podcast, named Other Zinc, like with Halo and Gears of War, especially Gears of War. I said it's okay for some shit to end. It is. It really is. It's okay. It's okay for Master Chief or Marcus Phoenix and his crew to have one last adventure, and you do something new. Because what happens is you get fatigued and you burn yourself out, like Star Trek or Doctor Who. Doctor Who should have ended a long time ago instead of keeping it going. And it's just sometimes it's okay. There was this wrestling manager named Jim Cornette who said, "How can I miss you if you won't go away?" The MCU should have ended after Endgame. That's when it should have ended. It's just been dragging on life support now for what 5-6 years. But do you know that Captain America Civil War was supposed to be something else entirely? It was supposed to be the original title was Captain America Serpent Society. I remember seeing that shit, right? And it was going to be about Hydra. What happened was Disney found out that, well, they didn't find out. Fucking these Warner Brothers shot their gun in 2013 and said we're making Batman vs Superman coming out fucking March 2016, and that altered Marvel's plans. So they told the Russo brothers, we got to do a versus movie, and that's how you got Civil War. And you know who fessed up?
Yeah.
And you know who fessed up to this? The Russo brothers themselves said this in an interview.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, dude. I don't know why Feige does this stuff, but he does. Feige should have been fired a long time ago. Kathleen Kennedy should have been fired a long time ago.
Oh my God, yeah. I respect her. I respect her resume. I respect all she's done. But like when you no longer have ideas or as a creative, you got to step down.
Dude, did you saw the quote that came out from Steven Spielberg? It was kind of joking, but I guess she took it to heart.
No,
it was about her making coffee. Like somebody asked him, and he kind of off jokingly said, "Oh, she makes a great cup of coffee." But this is back in the day when you said stuff like this. This is the old school, right? And stuff like that. And I don't think he meant it like meanly, but as a joke.
So that's what drove this bitch to ruin Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
I don't think she ever recovered from that, and she has a chip on her shoulder because any normal person would have left the franchise by now. It's done. It's over. My whole challenge is
I'm sure. Here's the thing, like I tell people all the time, whether you're sitting in the office with, I would have went up against Vince McMahon and told him, you know what? A guy like Vince McMahon, who's a control freak and a psycho, they need somebody to push back. Instead, what they get is they get yes men who are so afraid to lose their jobs that they just go ahead and say, okay, all right, whatever. Okay, all right, whatever. It's okay to tell a motherfucker, no, that's a bad idea. It's okay to tell Kathleen Kennedy, I think it's a bad idea to bring back Indiana Jones. Why? Because his story ended in Indiana Jones 4. He got married. It's over. He found his son. He got married. It's over. Why would you bring him back as a defeated old man? Why would you bring Luke Skywalker back as a defeated old man? And the fans rejected that shit. They didn't want to see it.
I know why Harrison Ford came back to do Star Wars. He wanted to kill off Han Solo.
And you know what I would have did? Like I just said, I'd have told him, no, we're not gonna kill off Han Solo. We're gonna give the fans what they want. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia on screen together one last time. Then you can kill them off. But they killed them off in the first goddamn movie. Then in the second movie, they killed off the villain, Snoke. And like, what? Yo, this is crazy.
I was cracking up as they made him like a deadbeat dad too. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's just too much.
That's
I
it.
was in the theater, dude. People would. I never seen. Look, and I've seen episodes 1, 2, and 3 in the theater, right? And I remember that happening, dude. And people was in that theater like, what in the world?
It's a mixed bag because there's a lot of great with the Star Wars sequels, and there's a lot of bad with the Star Wars sequels.
But at least 1, 2, and 3 feels like Star Wars. George Lucas's Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 feels like Star Wars. 4, 5, and 6. There's parts of 7, 8, 9 that feels like Star Wars. Listen, I tell folks all the time that disagree with me. I think that Kylo Ren is a fucking awesome character.
Great. My garage. I still have I was cleaning up my garage today, dude. I have my Phasma. I have Captain Phasma. Great character. Horrible delivery. It's a great idea. They had a great character. They just couldn't make them great in the story. They just couldn't. It just blows my mind, like how hard of a time these people have. And I understand, dude. It's by fiat, dude. They have too many chefs in the kitchen, with a lot in these writing rooms, right? And I'm just sitting there looking at this, like, dude, she is an amazing character. You got Gwendolyn. I forgot her last name. She's coming off of Game of Thrones. Gwendolyn Christie. She's coming off of Game of Thrones, one of those popular characters in Game of Thrones. She has the bona fides, dude. She looks every bit. If you wanted an imposing stormtrooper and you wanted somebody to stand out like Captain Phasma does amongst the ranks of the stormtroopers, everything's lined up. The stars are all aligned. All you have to do is write some great lines and give her some good scenes and gravy. It's all. It's it's done.
What writers and directors will do with a franchise, and even on television, they'll leave breadcrumbs for the next director that's coming after them. And so what J.J. Abrams did was he left enough breadcrumbs to where Rian Johnson could do a story. But what Rian Johnson chose to do, and he's a damn good director. He did a movie called Knives Out, which is awesome. What Rian Johnson chose to do was subvert everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
And you can do that. You can subvert expectations, but not to that degree. Not to that degree. Everybody loved Rey. Listen, I was in love with Rey. Everybody was in love with Rey.
Yeah.
Everybody could understand Rey. She wasn't looking for power. She was trying to get food. Everybody could understand that. And she was cute too. That damn Daisy Ridley. Oh God, I'll drink Daisy Ridley. She's a really gorgeous young woman. But
it was like the rebirth of our girl from actually from 2 franchises, right? Our girl from Titanic, and then our girl from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Britain. I don't know what is in the water in London. Britain, but every once in a while, they do it in cycles. Right?
Britain and Australia. What the fuck is in that water, man? But they had a good start. And Rian Johnson, he subverted expectations a little too much. Like Luke Skywalker would never throw away the goddamn lightsaber, right? Yeah. Like it was just so much shit I'm not saying it was all bad. I'm just saying they had this whole scene in them. Did you watch the whole movie?
I watched 7, and I'm like you, E-Rocks. I put 7 up there with you remember when the what's his name, when he did Star Trek, that first Star Trek, coming back, bringing him back.
Oh, J.J. Abrams, that Star Trek was great.
Yeah. So that's the way I felt about Star Trek. Is the same way I kind of felt about Episode 7, Star Wars. Right? He did the same kind of thing, like you said. He laid the breadcrumbs, laid down the foundations, brought the people up, right, and then passed it on, hot potato over the old boy. And when they did 8, dude, I was lost. I was just like,
your job is to not fuck shit up if the breadcrumbs are left for you. In Superman the movie, what Richard Donner did was he left breadcrumbs for the next guy to follow, because he actually got fired because him and the producers they were having problems. So the next guy had breadcrumbs that he could follow, right? And so that's what you do with Zack Snyder. He left breadcrumbs from the first 3 or 4 DCEU movies so that whoever came behind could do stories. And that's why, ironically, the Flash movie brings it all full circle, because he left those breadcrumbs behind for the next directors to follow. But like Rian Johnson just chose to subvert all of that. And the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is, I don't know what the fuck she's doing, but like she has these weird hot takes. Like she said in this interview, well, in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, we give Indiana Jones a better send off than he had in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm like, really, really? Because in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Crystal Skull, he finds he has a son, and he marries the love of his life, Marion Ravenwood, and that's it, man. The story fucking ends. In this movie, you got this unlikable English chick knocks him the fuck out, and he wakes up in a fucking apartment. Like what the fuck? Yo, like I don't. And the thing is, man, these people are paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to write these scripts and direct these movies, and they still fucking up. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
You know what I feel? I tell my daughter this, but she does read a lot. She reads a lot of books, and I told her you need to read because when I see people and the stuff that they produce nowadays, I can tell that they've never read classic literature. They've never read something as like just kind of like tribal poetry, stuff that you kind of grew up reading, just because it was like we all have literature. That's why I read half the books. Like the Scarlet Letter, what's the Crow one, the Raven, right? All of this stuff. It's not like I went out and read it. Dude, we had actual literature that you have to read. These A Tale of Two Cities and stuff like that. And kids nowadays don't have to do that. It's like how they don't write cursive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They don't read now. They be on their cell phones, man.
Yeah, so I told my daughter, but luckily my daughter always liked reading. She probably gets that from her mom, but she always liked reading stories and stuff like that. And I'm like, that'll serve you well in your future.
Man, you hear him banging? That's not shooting. It's been cool to rock out with you, bro. But I gotta go. I take care of a senior citizen, man, and it never ends.
No problem, bro. We've been 3 hours. Yeah, go ahead, E-Rock. I'll wrap up with Monte, dude, and then I'm gonna end the podcast anyway.
Hey, yo, man, it was great hanging out with you, man. Hope we can do this again. I guess
you know what? I never thought about this, but Hebot suggested I just put the link in the our chat, and then you guys can.
That's right. There you go. There you go, man. There you go. Hey, Sega Forever, man. You have a great holiday, man. And we got to pick up this conversation next week. All right.
Yeah, dude. Oh, we'll do all pop culture next time. All right, brother.
All right. All right, brother. Have a good one. All right. Take care.
Hey, Vontae. Yeah, let me get to your comments and then we can wrap it up. It's been about 3 hours. Which, hey, look, it's always good to have E-Rock on there, dude. As you can tell, man, E-Rock is just like E-Rock and Hebot and stuff like that, dude. I know it's an Xbox podcast, Wrecking Crew, but we do cover pop culture stuff. But when I got these guys on, man, I gotta pick their brain because I'm interested, man. I mean, I don't go to the movies anymore, man. My kids, that was more a thing for me and my kids. And when Marvel was bumping, man, my kids, we was all into it, and I was into it because of my kids. And we went and we enjoyed it. Remember, my kids are older now. You know what I'm saying? They got other stuff they want to do, and I'm cool, man. I've gone to the movies a bazillion times, and so I'm like E-Rock, dude. Most of the time we just wait for the thing to drop. It has to be something real special. Like if my daughter wants to go watch an anime that they did a movie and they're releasing it here, we'll go watch it. It has to be something we both, especially with the cost, dude. You guys know the money and stuff like that. It's cheaper, right? To just wait till it comes on video. But Vontae, man, let me touch on your stuff, brother. People hated that. Who are you talking about? You talking about Ben Affleck? I didn't like him in the beginning either, but going back and watching, I very much enjoyed his take. It's funny, Vontae, because when you look at, I think of what Ben Affleck, like how E-Rock was saying he was tired. All those, Robin died. They actually went with that kind of like the burnt out Batman. I thought about that picture or that video where Ben Affleck opens the door for Jennifer Lopez. They got back together. And when he gets in, he slams the door, and he just has that look on his face. It reminds me of that Batman v Superman. Dude, a lot. Vontae says, I actually am on the opposite side of that. I think Kevin had a plan, but around phase 3, he started giving directors too much freedom, and he started listening to the people above him too much. I will say, because they were trying to establish the universe, and a lot of the stuff that they used in the movies came directly from the comics, and they just would tweak it. And I didn't really have a problem with them tweaking it, man. And like I said, I was watching this with my kids, so it kind of became like their Marvel. So I was experiencing it that way. Of course, I have my critiques about Marvel, some of the stuff they did. But overall, phases 1, 2, and 3, yeah, I had no problem. Enjoyed it. with my kids watching the movies and stuff like that. It's funny because I watched somebody say that he goes, man, I remember when we thought Thor 2 was a bad movie, and what he was referencing was the movies that we have now. So the Marvel movies I have now are so bad that it makes people miss the older stuff, and even a movie that Thor 2 went, because when the second Thor came out, it was not received. I remember it got some criticism, like Iron Man, like Iron Man 2 kind of did, but Iron Man 3 definitely did. I like all three of the Iron Man movies, and what it is when I watch a lot of these movies, guys. This is why I make the distinction between me being a comic book fan and being a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan or participating in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because I wear different hats, right? So I can just go into it, enjoy it because my kids enjoy it, and also because it's a movie. I can put my comic book stuff on the side, critique it when I need to. If somebody asks me questions, like we're having this podcast, I can pull that out, right? But at the end of the day, dude, as a movie, enjoying it with my kids, no problem. This is why I can go to DC movies. People are like, I thought you didn't like DC. I was like, well, the hate that I had for DC back in the day was a different type of thing, because we were all comic book guys back then, and we preferred the company, we preferred the characters, we preferred the artists and the writers and stuff like that. But if you like comic books, you just like the whole industry, right? Everybody's a fan. It's just like now, I'm a Steeler fan, but I don't hate football. You know what I'm saying? Though I don't like the Browns, I don't like the and even then, maybe because I'm getting old. Yeah, I'm not as hardcore as I used to be as well. Um, but yeah, yeah. I think with the directors though, what ended up happening is they kind of went the other direction because they couldn't control the message, right? Because when you have guys like the Russos, and when you have the dude that did the first, when you have somebody that does the first Thor movie, I forgot his name, Sir Kenneth Branagh. When you have like Taika Waititi and stuff like that, those are guys that and James Gunn, those are guys that are gonna want to do the things that they want to do, and they ingratiated themselves to the fandom, so the fandom knew who they were. Um, but you saw what happened with Doctor Strange, right? So I actually kind of go a little bit more of the opposite way, Vontae, is that they had the talented directors, but because Marvel couldn't control the message and David Feige couldn't control the message, or Kevin Feige couldn't control the message, that they ended up doing what they ended up doing. And now it's by fiat. Well, everything's by fiat in Marvel, and it shows. That's why they can't reconnect with the audience, and they're having a hard time telling stories because you have way too many people involved in the process. And that's part of movie making, man. You're gonna have run-ins with the producer, and the producer and director is not gonna get along, and you're gonna have that one actor, and things aren't gonna go right. That's part of the process, and these guys want to avoid that. And I'm like, no, that's what makes movies what they are. You just got to deal with it at the end of the day. Fonte says he stopped actually leading and started giving outlines. When Marvel was at his best, he ran it at a tight ship. He needs to get back to that. Well, Vontae, I will say this: it's also because he has an ideology as well. I've seen interviews where he talked about it. He really wanted to put people of color, and he wanted to put more women, females into the story, which wouldn't be bad. But the problem with that is that became their ultra focus, right? It is becoming that brand, and that's what ended up killing him. Because again, when I'm talking about the stories and stuff like that, right? Because you just have to tell a great story. If the lead happens to be a female, if the lead happens to be a male, it doesn't matter the race, right? Or in certain aspects, right? Like for example, Jason Momoa is going to do a King Kamehameha movie. It would be good if they have people that are Islanders, just because the look, right? It's a period piece, it's a historical thing. Same thing with Black Panther, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, I get it and stuff like that. There's areas where that fits the mold, but having that be your main focus, that doesn't make sense, and it hurts. It actually hurts the brand. I actually never minded the first two Thors. I liked them on release. First one I like definitely better than the second one, but I didn't have a problem with the second one because I did like some of the world building aspect they did in it. But it's definitely not it's definitely on the lower tier of all the Marvel movies out there. Three was kind of a rebound for them because they went so off, outside the box with that one, and that's because of what happened with two. What I thought they were going to do with Thor 2, especially since they got the Game of Thrones guy, one of the guys that worked on Game of Thrones, I thought they were going to do the Nine Realms, and I thought they were going to do it a little bit more fantasy, a type of more fantasy style. And what we got was nothing like that. So it was interesting that they did the Nine Realms in the opening scene, and that was it. And then they went back to the Jane, and definitely, look, Kenneth Branagh and that Thor 1 and 2 definitely was pulled more from the, that 70s, almost 80s, maybe even 60s kind of lore, which I have no problem with. I just was expecting a different movie. And for me, if I'm putting it in a hierarchy of great movies, it's down below. You know, there's definitely Marvel movies I put higher than that. Vontae says, I agree with that as well. The problem was also putting these characters in positions where it made no sense. 100%, Vontae. 100%. And, you know, the writing was on the wall. You saw what they did at the end of Infinity War. Is it Infinity War? Infinity, yeah. When they did the scene with all the females, right? And that was kind of like a power movement, but it just was off. You know, it didn't take away from the movie because there was so much of other stuff in the movie that people liked that was kind of a one-off for most people. But for me, when I saw that, I knew the direction that Marvel was going because they were talking about it already. Like they basically just pause that movie just to have that moment, right? And it distracts from it. And then once people began to realize where Marvel was going with all of this stuff, now when they go back and watch it, they see it. And it's a shame, man, because they didn't have to do that. You know, do it the old-fashioned way, man. Put in that work, create a character, build a story. They did it with Phase 1. They went the long route, and they benefit from that. Everything they did with Captain America, even though Captain America, for some people, they didn't like the movie. It's amazing though to watch as Captain America went through his paces, and then coming to the end of Phase 3, that people like the first Captain America movie more because the character in number 1, and then the character you get at the end, he's the anchor, right? He's the moral compass of the group, right? And you see him kind of go through the changes, but he never loses himself. And the reason why is you go back to Captain America, the first Avenger, explains all of that. They had to set that up, right? So when you look at Captain America, the first Avenger, that Captain America that you see, right, the Man Out of Time in Winter Soldier, which transitions into Civil War, which transfers to all the Avengers, right? Movie, it's his character going through that story arc, the hero's arc, but still, he's still not this. He's still the same character, even though circumstances are different. Even though he made some tough choices, even though he went to war with Iron Man, even though he did some stuff that's a little bit out of character that you wouldn't expect. That kind of adds to the flavor, actually. Right? You see that you get to go along for that ride, but at his core, he never left being that Captain America that we got to know in the first Avenger. So a lot of people that didn't care for the first Avenger as much, a lot of them now kind of changed their mind because you actually get the full effect of it. And Marvel did that with the original character anyway. So, you know, and that's what I mean with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige actually did the heavy lifting, did that. And at the end of the day, he betrayed all of that. So just being honest. But yeah, let me wrap it up, guys. Vontae, thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and a good history on wrestling, man, because I've been out of the loop for a long time. I'll check in on it. I know a lot of people that still watch it. We talk about it. I'd be lying if I said I kept up with everything, not on the level that E-Rock is, definitely, or even you, Vontae. So I'm not going to purport to be that. Though I do check in on it from time to time, man, especially when stuff is popping. You know what I mean? But I do need to get back on it. NWO Prime, brother, good to see you, man. Let me know, man. I'm going to shoot you. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm going to shoot you an invite next time. Have you coming on the group. Definitely want your perspective, dude. I know you dropped the video. I want to watch it today, brother. Anthony Chipmunk, thank you for being here, brother. Cheers. T, man, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it, bro. Hope you're enjoying. I know you're playing that split. What is it? Split, whatever. Not whatever in that way, but you know what I'm saying. I know that game that you like playing. I still haven't played Frag, dude. I gotta get on that, dude. But I'm just trying to go through my games as much as possible. Yeah, brother. Have a good happy 4th of July, everybody, too. You know, celebrate the nation's birthday, man. Happy 4th of July. Hope you all got to get your barbecue. I'm gonna go out and get some right now. Or try to get some right now. If they still got any. All right. But anyway, guys, Xbox On channel, host Sega Forever. We out.